Punching a pufferfish in Bedrock makes it puff up, but in Java it does nothing. Punching a pufferfish should really make your hand puff up because of the swelling. It would hurt. In Java, if you fall in the void in creative mode, you die. Bro really died in creative mode. But in Bedrock, if you fall in the void, you can just walk on the void. This is just solid ground. You can also get this warning message for building down here in Bedrock. Java doesn't need to warn you though. It expects you to know this. In Bedrock, dyeing the water in cauldrons is an option, and it's what you use to dye leather armor, instead of crafting dyed leather armor like you do in Java. If you want to dye your Enderman, unfortunately it will just teleport away on Bedrock, but dyeing your Enderman on Java would be possible if you could put dye in cauldrons. But do not worry, cause while Bedrock doesn't allow you to dye Enderman, you can dye shulkers in Bedrock. Kinda the same concept as giving your dog a tattoo. You can just permanently change the color of a shulker while it's still alive. Also, if you play Bedrock and you really hate shulkers, you can just shove a chest inside of a shulker using a piston. Now you are just using your dyed shulker as a decoration on top of your chest. Java Edition unfortunately cares about shulkers, and you have to find different ways to harm them instead. You might have noticed I placed a lever on the side of a piston. You can't do this on Java without breaking it off. But Java might have destructible levers, but you can't destroy rails on Java. Not like that. You can't destroy rails with water on Java, but you can on Bedrock. Dogs in Bedrock can eat fish, but dogs on Java hate fish and only eat the finest of cuisine. And you are actually able to damage your vision by looking at the sun in Bedrock. This is why eye tests are available in Bedrock, and you can even get glasses for your player. Now I'm gonna show you some features that are only in Bedrock, but will probably be added to Java soon. In Bedrock, leaves change color when it's snowing. In Bedrock, you can find vines growing randomly on any type of tree. Water has different colors in Bedrock depending on the biome you are in. You can even get red water in the Nether, the most useful thing I've seen so far. And that's it. That's the only things from my list that I can see getting added to Java. In Java Edition, if you blow a mob up that can drop a head with a charged creeper, it will drop the head 100% of the time. But this only works with one mob at a time, but on Bedrock, you can blow up multiple mobs and get all of their heads at once. If you ever wanted to ride a boat through a wall, unfortunately that's not going to happen on Java Edition, but you can place some slabs at the bottom of a wall like this, and then boat through it just fine on Bedrock. In Bedrock, you can give items to armor stands. Originally, I thought you could do this on Java. I was disappointed to find out that you can't. And you can also name an armor stand dinner bone to turn it upside down on Bedrock. I'm starting to think Bedrock may actually be better, which is why I will showcase the difference between bridging on Bedrock and Java. This has just never made any sense to me how this is possible on Bedrock. It feels like something out of a Roblox game. In Bedrock, you can ride a skeleton horse without a saddle. You can't even ride a skeleton horse at all on Java. I really thought you could. There is still a Farlands in Bedrock 17 million blocks out. It works a little differently than the Java Farlands that was removed. This one is even more glitchy. Bedrock has a zoom out animation when you die, while on Java you just die. There's no animation. And on Bedrock, a baby villager's head is massive. Baby villagers must be a lot dumber on Java. The wither on Bedrock is actually a lot more powerful than it is on Java. That is because the Bedrock Wither has double the HP, and it glows white when it's spawned. The white doesn't make it any more OP. If you ever wanted to waterboard a phantom, you will be sad to find out that phantoms don't take water damage on Java. But if you play Bedrock, I have good news. Phantoms can actually drown on Bedrock. You can also light yourself on fire in Bedrock, and then use it to light candles and campfires with your body. Java doesn't have this option though. And Java also doesn't have the option to light these things using a fire aspect book like Bedrock does. But something Java does have that Bedrock doesn't is furnace minecarts. Yeah, this item just doesn't exist on Bedrock. If you get a regular minecart on Bedrock and put an iron golem in it, you can see that it works. But on Java, an iron golem is a little too big for a minecart. You also gotta make sure that your iron golem doesn't get trapped inside of the rails, as mobs on Java do not walk over rails. Java really just has superior rails, I guess. These things can block off mobs and restrict water. Bedrock has the superior leads though, as you can attach leads to entities like boats, which isn't a thing on Java. And they also just look super cool compared to the ones on Java. Leads can also be attached to walls on Bedrock, but this only works on fences in Java. And you may also notice that the wall item itself looks different on Bedrock than it does on Java. This is because... Well, I don't know why it's like this actually. You can also look at iron bars on Bedrock and notice that they are a lot more symmetrical than they are on Java. And bubble columns look completely different between the two editions as well. I'm gonna say that Java wins this one. The bubble column looks way more natural. In Java, if you spawn a wandering trader spawns. But in Bedrock, if you spawn a wandering trader, it comes with 2 llamas at no extra cost. Bedrock always has the best deals. That is until you find out that carving a pumpkin on Bedrock only gives 1 seed, but on Java it gives 4. And if you've ever seen the inside of a pumpkin in real life, neither of these make any sense. I swear those things have infinite seeds. When you pull a crossbow back on Bedrock in first person, you can see part of your hand. On Java, you cannot see any of your hand, which means you don't have hands on Java. In Bedrock, you can place snow underneath flowers, and you can use bone meal on flowers to make them spread. On Java, neither of these things are possible. But what's possible on Java is climbing up a trapdoor ladder, and on Bedrock it appears you can't even place ladders on trapdoors. I've always hated running over soul sand without blocks. There's no reason for it to be this slow. But on Bedrock, if you sprint jump over soul sand, it just isn't slow. And I think this has something to do with the absolutely amazing running animation on Bedrock. Who doesn't run like this in real life? In Bedrock, blocks that emit light glow on your hotbar. In Java, they don't. In Bedrock, when you have view bobbing on, you get to see a lot of bobbing. Java lets you view less bobbing, but there's still bobbing. Shift-clicking blocks in your inventory has an animation on Bedrock. There is no animation for this on Java. In Bedrock, scaffolding looks different in your inventory than it does on Java, and holding an item in Bedrock is slightly angled, but in Java it's perfectly straight. You might be inclined to go for a swim while wearing an elytra, and unfortunately in Bedrock, your elytra will deactivate if you go into water, but on Java it actually remains activated for whatever reason. Now that you're underwater though, you can grow some coral with bone meal, but only in a warm ocean on Java, although this works in every biome on Bedrock. After that, you can steal some aquatic mobs and experiment on them by giving them water breathing. In Bedrock, they will survive on land with water breathing, and on Java, they will do the opposite of that. You might have also bucketed an axolotl while you were in the water, and this is what the name of your axolotl will look like on Java, and this is what the name looks like on Bedrock. They got bro's whole government name, social security number, address. If you prefer setting mobs on fire rather than suffocating them, mobs turn orange and red while on fire in Bedrock, but they only blink red in Java. You can also place a bunch of mobs in a small area in Java to start killing them, but on Bedrock they just won't die. You can create a cannon with mobs on Bedrock though, so they both have their positives and negatives. Similar to the detailed axolotl bucket, switching to an enchanted item on Bedrock will actually show you all the enchantments. On Java, however, you actually have to hover over it in your inventory to see what enchantments they have. In Bedrock, books display 2 pages at a time instead of just 1 on Java edition, and if you write anything offensive in your book on Bedrock, it will become censored. This can also happen on signs, renaming items, pretty much everything where you can type. On Java, you can type freely though. In Java edition, if you cover up your bed with a bunch of blocks, the bed will become obstructed and it will just respawn you at the world's spawn point. But in Bedrock, you can encase your bed in an indestructible vault, and you will still respawn within the area of your bed. If you name a big slime in Java edition and then kill it, the slimes that it splits into will still have the same name. On Bedrock, if you do this, the smaller slimes do not carry over the name. It just becomes forgotten. In Bedrock, animals like horses slowly grow up into an adult, but on Java, the change just happens instantly. You can then ride your horse on Java, and your hunger bar and XP bar get replaced with the horse's health and jump bar, but on Bedrock, the XP bar only gets replaced when you are jumping. Otherwise, you can still see how much XP you have. In Bedrock, hearts move down when you have regeneration, and on Java, for some reason, it's the opposite. Hearts move up. You also can't eat food in peaceful mode when your hunger bar is full on Java, but for some reason you are able to eat as much food as you want in peaceful mode on Bedrock. In Bedrock, having a parrot on your shoulder will prevent you from going through a nether portal, but in Java, the parrot will actually go through to the nether with you. Oh, whoops. Looks like I forgot something in the overworld. If you want to place a torch on top of a honey block, you cannot do this on Java, but it is possible to do this in Bedrock. Useful information for bees. And the new vibrant visuals is actually available on Bedrock, but not on Java. It will be available on Java soon though, but the difference here is that Bedrock seems to get everything first before Java gets it. When you kill a ghast with its own fireball on Bedrock, it will turn orange. You also probably noticed that a ghast's eyes and mouth kind of glow when shooting a fireball on Bedrock, but in Java, it just remains red and boring. Steve is calling these speedy boots. Yeah, speedy boots are not real, unless it's soul speed boots, but they still do not grow wings out the sides. This sword is clearly not a wooden sword. It's supposed to be because this wall has all the swords in order, but you can see a reflection, so this just can't be a regular wooden sword. Steve added some kind of polish on top of it. I don't think I have to explain that this isn't possible in Minecraft. And again, I'm talking about Java, not the Bedrock add-on. There's no nunchuckets in Minecraft. If the terrain scene in the trailer is supposed to be real terrain, generation like this is unfortunately not possible. There would be stone underneath some of the dirt. But I want to believe that Steve built the entire mountain, because Steve is just built like that. One thing he couldn't have built in vanilla Minecraft is windmills that can actually move. This would only be possible in the create mod, or maybe even Steve's own custom mod. The possibility that Steve makes his own mods has not actually been explored. This is a super tall iron golem. It's way taller than a regular iron golem is. And in this scene, Steve is seen pouring lava on top of a chicken to make cooked chicken. This is accurate as long as you move the lava in time. But a KFC in a Minecraft village is not. I know that Steve built it. In this part of the trailer, Henry discovers mining blocks. And not only is the block too small, making it this small still does not explain how a player can carry so many blocks in their inventory at all. Like, that bag is not carrying this many blocks. Also in this scene, you can see that Henry got more than one log from the logs he broke, as he builds an entire, what I will call a house, out of just 2 logs. And in Minecraft, it is not possible to get more than 1 log from breaking a log. Skeletons shoot flaming arrows in the Minecraft movie. Skeletons do not shoot flaming arrows unless they have a flame bow, or if you give a wither skeleton a bow. So I guess all these skeletons got super lucky, or they learned how to enchant. The MLG water bucket is seen in the movie as well, and while it's cool that they included this in the Minecraft movie, Steve must be playing Beta 1.9 pre-release 4, as he's able to place water on top of water. That's not even counting the massive spread this bucket just instantly placed. This baby piglin draws a picture and shows it to this big piglin. Baby piglins cannot draw pictures in Minecraft. When the piglin is killed, it also turns into a pork chop. You can't do that in Minecraft either. This piglin here is also not part of Minecraft Java Edition, but it's in Minecraft Legends, so it is technically still Minecraft. In this part of the movie, we can see piglins being carried by ghasts on some sort of gassed hot air balloon. I'm gonna give this to Mojang, as we will be able to ride ghasts soon, so it's close enough to being real. There's no drum block in Minecraft, though. Piglins surviving more than 20 seconds in the overworld is also not real. All these piglins should turn into zombie piglins. They also shouldn't be attacking innocent villagers. But out of all the piglin inaccuracies, this is the worst one. Piglins are wearing iron armor. They are literally known for loving gold. They even respect a little bit of gold on a player, unless they're a brute, and they are wearing iron armor in the movie. Somehow in this scene, when they are spawning all the iron golems, the Iron Golem King is seen in the middle of the golems, towering over all of them. There is no Iron Golem King in Minecraft, unfortunately.
Chicken jockey!
Yes, this is a chicken jockey, but zombies don't come out of boxes in Minecraft. You'd have to use a dispenser. And no, zombies don't just fall on top of chickens to make a jockey. I also don't think illagers can go without attacking players, but I'll give it to them. Illagers could have an underground fight club. Seems real. This terrain is not Minecraft terrain, but it is pretty cool. I wish Minecraft looked like this. In this scene, Jack Black is building a dirt house. The dirt house is a staple in Minecraft, and I'm going to actually say that this is accurate to Minecraft. Everyone has built a dirt house before, but this pink house, on the other hand, it's got completely messed up portions. Bro is building on a completely different grid than regular Minecraft. He also summoned the pink house out of thin air, so Steve is using cheats in the Minecraft movie because there's no way to do this without commands. Piston door. There's about a 50% chance that that's an actual line said by Jack Black in the movie. Anyways, a secret piston door is cool to feature in the movie, but making sure the pistons are facing the right way really isn't something that should be looked over. This is an illegal piston door. Another thing that Steve does here that is illegal is he uses a torch for light without placing it down. But I'm gonna give it to them again, because you could argue that the movie is running a shader pack. The most realistic shader pack ever created. In the Minecraft movie, wolves howl at the moon while the moon is moving sideways. In Minecraft, the moon doesn't move sideways, and wolves don't howl at the moon. I honestly couldn't tell you what's happening in this scene. It looks like the piglins are trying to summon a portal to the real world. I'm going to say that this is not in Minecraft right now. Maybe the piglins will be able to make a portal through to the real world soon. In Minecraft, an enchantment table looks like this. In the Minecraft movie, this might be an enchantment table, or it's just a chest with red in it. You could argue that the potato launcher is in Minecraft because it's in the Bedrock add-on, but again, this video is about Java. Java. Anyways, this crafting recipe is almost definitely not how you make a potato launcher. There's an eraser, paper clip, other stuff, all things that aren't in Minecraft. In this scene, Garrett gets smacked by a piglin, and I want to say that piglins can't hit you with their fist in Minecraft, but I honestly don't know if this is true. Will piglins still hit you if they don't have a weapon? I'm not finding out, so I don't know. These pandas and Steve are found emoting in this part of the trailer. Both pandas and Steve do not know these specific emotes. Pandas do know a couple emotes though, so this is like 50% accurate. We've seen a couple crafting scenes so far, and this one is fine. It's just a diamond sword. But this is not in Minecraft. At the beginning of this trailer, we see a baby panda pop up between these two adult pandas. This is actually accurate Minecraft breeding. We got the heart particles, the pandas are eating bamboo, and it's good that they made this scene Minecraft accurate, cause well yeah. In this scene, Steve, Garrett, and Henry are stuck at the edge of a cliff, and they have a ton of water underneath them, so I don't really see how they're stuck. But Steve saves the day with a couple of elytras, and right after this, we can actually see Steve does not have his own elytra, and instead he's sharing one with Garrett. As of right now, this is not possible in Minecraft, unless Steve is a mob, but I don't think he is. This creeper appears to be made out of grass, which could possibly be accurate as the original grass design does match the color of a creeper. But this next part where Garrett gets blown up by a creeper is not. I mean, bro is wearing no armor 2 inches away from the creeper. There is no way he survived this unless the world is on peaceful mode. Right here, we can see a half-broken elytra wing, which isn't a thing in Minecraft. I'd also like to say that pandas can't stack on top of each other like this, but I think it's cool for the movie. In this scene, Garrett is seen talking to a pink sheep, and this is obviously not possible in Minecraft. There's no sheep whispering in the game. Also, the flowers behind him don't really look like real Minecraft flowers, as well as the trees, but the trees look way better than these flowers. I mean, these flowers are not in the game. It's not possible to find a ruined portal that looks like this, but Jack Black saying flint and steel completely makes up for the portal being weird. Forgot to mention this earlier, ghasts also don't attack villagers, just like piglins. Piglins are not able to carry TNT or torches, and there is a broken fence block on the side here, which is not a thing in the game. I just want you to look at this massive nether portal. I'm not saying that this isn't possible in the game, because I don't know exactly how many blocks it is, but I just think it's super cool. Like, imagine if giant portals like this could actually spawn in the game. This single warden who really wants to kill me, but he can't, so he does this, which is cool and all, but it isn't satisfying. So what will happen if I spawn 100 wardens and have them do the same thing? Oh my god, I'm pretty sure I went so high that it bounced me. And sure, that was satisfying, but not as satisfying as cutting down bamboo in this bamboo-only world, which I actually can't stop doing. And what's even more insane is watching this from above, just like covering the entire world in Skulk, which you can do with the help of a couple million Ravagers and a Skulk Catalyst. And now we wait as the entire world turns into Skulk. Wait, I wonder what would happen if I added even more of these. Okay, I think I broke it. There's a literal Ravager fountain coming from the sky. Oh my god. This is a chest full of random materials, which if placed a bunch of times like this, you can break all the chests and watch all the items fall out, which looks pretty nice. But the best part of this isn't the items falling, it's picking them up, which sounds super satisfying. I could literally do this for hours. Something else you can do is place a bunch of shulkers full of netherite above a lava pool, and then when you break them, this happens. And if you use a command block to place an infinite block like this, and then you use another command block to give yourself a 1 durability pickaxe every tick, you can infinitely break pickaxes, which makes this very satisfying sound. Uh-oh, I think I'm sick. I'm throwing up pickaxes. This is working quicksand in Minecraft, which can be made using this secret formula. First, you place some soul sand on the bottom, then you place some water above, and then you place some cobwebs on top of all that, and after that, you need to just place some sand on top that's ready to be dropped in. And now you can drop the sand and watch it all fall into place, which is pretty satisfying. After that, you have a working quicksand that you can't escape, but that's not the most satisfying part. If you remove the cobwebs like this, and then drop some more sand on the top, you can make this really cool bubbling effect, which looks like it doesn't even belong in the game. This effect can also be used in a square like this, which looks pretty nice, especially when all the sand and gravel breaks at the end. Or you can drop a line of sand and gravel like this, which kind of looks like a worm when it first drops. Another thing I found that looks pretty cool is this concrete powder powder turning to concrete like this, and I also tried it in a line, which looks pretty nice as well. This is a village that has a massive amount of dripstone above it, which is already kind of cool to look at. And I'm going to be dropping the dripstone on the village using this machine here. Oh my god, I think my PC is going to explode. Hopefully it looks good on replay, because I literally can't see anything. Okay, somehow we actually had a couple of survivors this time. But I'm going to add a layer of anvils, sand, and gravel to drop on the village as well. And now let's spawn Timothy. Hopefully he survives. Okay, first let's drop the anvils. That was much less laggy. Now let's add some sand. It's looking like Bikini Bottom down there. And finally the gravel. Okay, there's no way Timothy survived all that. Oh wait, he's actually right here. Honestly, doing that had me feeling like I was 9 years old again, so let's try some things we all did as kids in Minecraft. First, I'm going to be burning down a forest. Okay, this is taking forever. I guess I have to do it the old-fashioned way. Now that's some good forest burning. What about blowing up a ton of TNT? I think this was a mistake. If you make a box like this, and then place a repeating command block to spawn zombies, you can make an infinitely dying zombie. That's not what I meant to do. What you can actually do is spawn a bunch of zombies inside of the box, and then you can kill them all with a sweeping edge 100 sword, and it's honestly pretty satisfying. I wonder what happens if we make the box even bigger. Okay, that was so much better. Another satisfying way to kill a bunch of mobs is with a piercing crossbow. But this crossbow isn't gonna cut it. It only killed 4 of them. We need a max piercing crossbow. Alright, and let's kill the villagers in 3, 2, 1... Okay, it didn't reach the end, but we'll just pretend it did. What happens if you break these plants that go up to sky limit? It's literally raining twisted vines. Now let's do the cactus. Okay, that one actually looked kind of nice. What about the sugar cane? Whatever this thing is. And finally, bamboo. Bamboo definitely has my favorite sound out of these. But something that might sound better is a massive dripstone hitting the ground. Okay, let's just use this genius redstone timer to make sure we don't miss the sound. And now we fall all the way to the bottom. I like how it just gets faster the more that fall. Apparently, if you place a bunch of end crystals inside of each other, it looks really satisfying. But it doesn't seem to be working for me, so I guess we have to use a command block. I think we placed them on the wrong block, but it's definitely working. This thing actually looks so cool. I can't believe this is in Minecraft. Wait, I wonder what happens if we touch it. For this next one, let's build a giant cactus farm. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Just watching them pop up all over the place is really satisfying. Another satisfying thing we can do is place skulk sensors in a row like this, and then we can fill all the empty slots up with TNT. And now finally, if we drop an item on it, it makes this really cool pulsing effect. Oh yeah, I forgot it would all blow up. For this next experiment, we are going to need a massive pyramid, so let's build that. Okay, that literally took me almost 30 minutes and I didn't even finish it. But now what we can do is place water in the middle and watch it all flow down the pyramid. Was that worth the 30-minute wait? Probably not. We can also drain all the water as well, but it's definitely not as satisfying as watching it flow down the pyramid. Earlier, we dropped a bunch of anvils on a village, but I wonder what it would look like if we dropped it on a regular world. Okay, it kind of just started. I didn't mean for that to happen. But yeah, that was still pretty cool. Now let's take a break from experiments and check out some of the most satisfying maps in Minecraft. These are 7 colored rings made by Bosca Winks, and when you fly through them one after another, it's actually really cool to look at. Just like this massive spiral made by Amy Oak, which looks especially cool if you fly through it with an elytra like this. This is an island in the shape of a Mobius strip that was also made by Amy Oak, which I honestly have no idea how it works, but it's definitely really satisfying to look at. And another thing that I don't understand is this Penrose triangle made by Aliscata, which also looks really cool from far away. Wait, I wonder what will happen if I turn it to sand. These next 3 builds were made by Adamax EP, and these are more like illusions, but they are still really satisfying to look at, especially this one, which will probably make you dizzy if you spin fast enough. If you put a Jeb name tag on a sheep, it makes it rainbow. So I wonder what will happen if I make a big pit and fill it with Jeb sheep. This is pretty normal. I see this every day in survival. Okay, now this is insane. You can barely even tell that there are sheep in the hole. Next, let's create a sand-only world and see what happens. Oh wait, I have to break the block first. There's a short amount of time before it becomes way too laggy. So now let's make it laggier with concrete. This would probably look so cool if it wasn't a slideshow. Next, I decided to make a sapling-only world, and watching them grow was actually really satisfying. I can't move on until all the holes are filled. Another experiment similar to this idea is making a drip leaf-only world. I honestly had no idea what would happen with this one, but it's probably one of my favorites so far. And the last world I made was a cactus-only world, but it didn't really go well, so we'll just move on. If you place two slabs like this, and then you push them together with a piston, you can make an illegal slab. So I wonder what it would look like if we copied the build a bunch of times to make a wall of illegal slabs. Honestly, I'm not sure if this is satisfying, but it's definitely pretty cool, and also really laggy. Picking up a ton of XP can also be pretty satisfying. Okay, it just won't stop. It's been doing this for like 5 minutes. And for the last experiment, I decided to put some bees in a nest. A lot of bees. Okay, if we set it to day, they should all come out at the same time. Oh my god. Yeah, I don't even know if that was satisfying. It's kind of unsettling, actually. Everybody knows that leather armor is the most useless armor in the game, but did you know that leather armor isn't even leather armor? In the early versions of Minecraft, leather hadn't been added to the game yet, so players would instead have to craft this armor using wool blocks that you obtained by punching sheep and turning them bald. This armor was eventually replaced with leather armor, but the texture remained the same, meaning the armor you wear today might not be what you think. Speaking of weird armor things, did you know that Minecraft's old armor system actually worked a lot differently? To start off, armor used to absorb all types of damage, including fall damage, meaning you could jump off of a massive mountain and survive wearing full leather armor. But you also might have noticed that I have 10 armor bars wearing leather armor. How is that possible? Well, prior to beta 1.6, all armor actually provided the same amount of protection, and the amount of armor bars you had was actually reflected by the amount of durability left on your armor. This meant that the only actual difference between leather and diamond armor was how fast it breaks, which in Minecraft Alpha was pretty fast. When thinking of the most iconic Minecraft item, you probably think of diamonds, but what if I told you that diamonds weren't even diamonds when they were first added to Minecraft? When Notch first added diamonds to Minecraft, he decided it would be a good idea to refer to them as emeralds instead of diamonds. Maybe this is why villagers have been after them this whole time. In the early versions of Minecraft, creepers never used to explode. Well, kinda. In the in-dev stages of the game, creepers existed as a hostile mob, but they would just melee attack you instead of explode. Don't let this fool you though, as for some reason they still exploded upon killing them. In Minecraft there are many structures, such as villages, shipwrecks, and even woodland mansions. But there is actually a structure that came before all of these, a structure that no longer exists today. When creating a world in the in-dev versions of Minecraft, you would spawn inside of a starter house that was located in the center of the world. The starter house was made up of wooden planks and stone like this, but in older versions it was just a big mossy cobblestone house. The house was filled to the brim with a bunch of chests, and each chest contained a stack of every item in the game. This seems pretty OP, and we can see why it doesn't exist today. Speaking of structures, when you think of villages, you usually think of villagers. The iconic Minecraft mob, which you can kidnap, take advantage of its self-scamming trades, and even enslave it to create a civilization. But did you know that when villages were first added to the game, there were actually no villagers to go with them? Just an eerie ghost town in the middle of nowhere. You've probably milked a cow in Minecraft before, maybe even a mushroom cow if you were looking for some soup, but I bet you've never milked a squid before, and that's because you were only able to milk squids for a short amount of time in beta 1.2 before Mojang later removed this feature. Why could you milk a squid in the first place? That I have no idea. One of the most cursed things in Minecraft is placing water in the nether, which is made completely impossible by having it instantly evaporate upon being placed. This wasn't always the case though, because in earlier versions of Minecraft you could actually place ice in the nether, and then when it melted it would cause water to flow out like normal. You better keep this information out of the hands of the wrong people though, or you might end up with an ocean in the nether. Minecraft's blocks have seen major updates over the years, but there are some things about these blocks that used to be completely different. To start, chests used to take up an entire block, causing you to actually be able to use them as a building block, and it didn't look that bad. Furnaces used to have a stone layer on top instead of the cobblestone that we see today, and climbing ladders used to require only one ladder every 2 blocks instead of a straight line. But did you know that a secret slab used to exist in the game? In the really early versions of Minecraft, Notch added the dirt slab to the game, which was supposed to help make the mountains look more natural. But as you can see, it didn't really work. Most people think that crying obsidian was added in the nether update, but crying obsidian was actually seen in the game's files all the way back in beta 1.3. But instead of looking like this, it looked like this. I can see where the crying in the name comes from now. In beta 1.4, locked chests were added all around around the map is an April Fool's update. Upon clicking on these chests, you would just be given a prompt telling you that you need to buy a Steve Co. supply crate key to open the chest, which was obviously a joke. These chests would end up getting removed from the world generation in the next update. I guess we'll never know what was really inside of these chests. Do you think Minecraft brewing is confusing now? Well, it's nothing compared to Minecraft's original brewing system. In Beta 1.9 pre-release 2, cauldrons were added to the game and their original use was to brew potions. All you had to do was click a water-filled cauldron with a potion ingredient, and then you could retrieve the potion using a glass bottle. Seems pretty easy, right? That is, until I tell you there were 30 different potions in the game, all with confusing names. That brewing system was crazy, but not as crazy as time travel being added to Minecraft. In the Beta 1.8 pre-release, Mojang added the ability to build a time machine in survival Minecraft. Well, you don't actually need a time machine, you just need to press F6 to go back in time and F7 to go forwards in time. I wonder if Minecraft will ever have a 4D version in the future. In Snapshot 15W14A, another April Fool's update, attacking mobs is completely disabled and the only way to progress is by left-clicking mobs to increase your hearts, which was also known as the love meter. This update added a bunch of mobs that were never seen again, such as the love golem, the pink wither, and even the smiling creeper, which upon exploding actually gives you flowers instead of killing you. None of this was as weird as the way you beat this update though, which is by gaining a certain amount of hearts and then completing a Minecraft-themed game of Minesweeper. I think from now on I'll just stick to playing regular Minecraft. Regular Minecraft isn't always so regular though, as the original method of respawning the Ender Dragon was added in Snapshot 15W31A. In this snapshot you could respawn the Ender Dragon simply by building a creeper's face out of clay inside of the end. And no, I'm literally not joking, this one is real. Also in Beta 1.9 pre-release 3, you could locate the stronghold based on these massive glass pillars that came out of the ground, and upon entering the portal room, you might notice something a little different about the end portal. That end portal was not nearly as different as the original Endermen though. When Endermen were first added to the game, they actually had green eyes, and upon attacking them, they would make zombie sounds instead of the sound that they make today. To make things even worse, instead of mining for diamonds, originally you could just farm Endermen to make your diamond tools instead. This is completely overpowered as long as you don't run into the white Enderman. This is a fishing rod, and this is a fishing rod being used in PvP, but did you know that when Minecraft first added the fishing rod, it actually looked like this and was completely useless? The only thing that you could do with it was stack as many of them on top of each other as you wanted. Crazy to see how far this game has come. Food in Minecraft used to be a lot different, as there was no hunger bar, meaning food would be used to instantly heal your hearts instead. When eating food, you didn't even have to wait for the animation to finish, as there was no animation. The food just instantly disappeared like you were Matt Stoney. The one downside to this though was that the food was not stackable. This meant that in order to stay alive while caving, you had to fill half your inventory up with food, allowing you to only have a little bit of space left for collecting ores. This made everything so much slower, especially because you can't sprint in these versions. You might have heard of the Aether mod, which is probably one of Minecraft's most famous mods, but did you know that Notch almost made this mod a reality? In Beta 1.6, a sky dimension was added to the game and could be accessed using mods. Notch said that this dimension could have been a dream world where the player would have a random chance of being teleported to while sleeping in the game. Unfortunately, this dimension was never added to Minecraft, and instead this concept was later turned into the end. Speaking of sleeping in Minecraft used to be really annoying. In older versions of Minecraft, when trying to sleep in an area that was accessible by mobs, the game would wake you up every time a hostile mob was standing near you, even if you were separated by a wall. This made sleeping basically impossible unless you had a nuclear fallout shelter to sleep in. We've talked about some of the things added for April Fool's updates already in this video, but one of the most interesting April Fool's updates was 1.rv-pre1, kind of a weird update name in itself. In this update, a few items were added, such as the ankle monitor, 3D glasses, and even a smartwatch. They even added a USB charging block, which could be used in the exact same way that a redstone block is used today. Now obviously all of these items were added as a joke, but it would be kind of funny to put somebody on house arrest in your Minecraft world. If you missed Minecraft Live, ghasts have been turned into blocks, and it's kind of like marshmallows. You can't eat them, but you can add water to them in the overworld, and now we have a smiling ghast, and soon the smiling ghast turns into a ghastling, which is alive and flies around, and when you feed the ghastling a billion snowballs, it turns into a happy ghast. Kind of the same concept as human evolution. Next, you can craft a harness using this recipe, and if you right-click a happy ghast with this harness, it turns the ghast into a blimp, which means you can now ride a ghast. After seeing this, I could not believe it's real. Why does the ghast need these pilot goggles? This design is insane. Anyways, you can have 4 people on a ghast at a time, and you can use the ghast to basically get creative mode building and survival, which is way better than the previous method for this. 1.22 is also going to feature a player locator bar in multiplayer, and for some reason this bar currently just flat out replaces the XP bar. But yeah, it's basically a compass on your hotbar that can be used to locate other players in your world without their consent. And if you see one of these in your single player world, do not interact with it. Next up, you will not believe it, but Minecraft is finally adding shaders to the game. Vibrant Visuals is essentially a shader pack in vanilla Minecraft, which is really cool though, because it's a shader pack in vanilla Minecraft. They finally added shaders to the game. This is Minecraft 2. A couple interesting things are these pixelated shadows, which is different to most shader packs that just have blurred edges on the shadows, and also this water, which I'm not gonna lie, kinda looks like Lego, so I don't know if I'm a fan of that. At the bottom of this, it says captured on a high-end PC. So rest in peace to anybody who's playing on an old laptop, or a tea kettle, or the Las Vegas Sphere. You're probably not going to be able to run this feature. The first feature that is actually playable right now in the newest version of Minecraft is fallen trees. Now you can find trees that have fallen down. Apparently this was already a thing in Bedrock, but this raises the question of how did the trees fall? Because when I break part of this tree, gravity does not exist. So who is making these trees fall? I imagine you've probably noticed that there's human feces all over the ground as well. This is leaf litter. Not only are the trees falling, we got falling leaves now too. These leaves immediately change color upon touching the ground. Unless you're in a pale garden, then the leaves are lore accurate. If you're really out of it like me and you missed this update, the pale garden is like the roofed forest, but it's pale. And there's a dude that spawns in it at night. This is the bro. I don't know what he does. Why am I Steve? Who made me Steve? Anyways, what's changed with him in this update is that now if you put a name tag on him, he will survive throughout the day. So you can keep him now as a pet. As you can see, there's no such thing as pig racism. The pigs got different variants now. Mojang must have finally listened to me and added these to the game. We got cold pigs and we got warm pigs. The cold pig is rocking a pig fur coat, as you can see. Pretty tough. Then we got the warm pig with a stripe on his back. Butt naked. Quick intermission. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I swear the lighting looks different. Does anyone else think it looks different? Like, this is different, right? We got cow variants being added as well. It's pretty much the same concept as the pigs. The warm cow is like one of those bulls because it's got horns. Nah. And this is the cold cow, same kind of thing, but with a fur coat again. And finally, you know Mojang had to add chicken variants too. I'm not gonna lie, the cold chicken be looking crazy. This dude got more hair than me. And instead of regular eggs, cold chickens now lay blue eggs, which I don't think they do anything different. It's just a way to get cold chickens in different biomes, I guess. And just like the other mobs, there's a warm chicken as well. It's yellow. Actually, it's kind of golden. No, it doesn't drop gold when you kill it. But you can get a brown egg from the golden chicken, and it's a similar concept to the blue egg. It's just used to spawn warm chickens instead. Now Mojang is so close to adding ducks. Just add ducks, please. I have a couple things written down here from a month ago that have to do with sheep. New sheep, they're now upside down. Don't know what that means. I don't think it means anything. Sheep wool color changes based on the biome they are spawned in. So yeah, sheep are now color coded. I don't exactly know how this works, but it's on screen. As you can see, I was confused a month ago too. Sheep in deserts? Who the Fortnite spawn in sheep in deserts? But the most important change here is that the sheep's face now has wool on it. That's not what that's supposed to say. It's supposed to say that the sheep's face is now colored based on the color of the sheep's wool. You can also shear a sheep now, and the little wool spots left underneath are colored as well. That's all we have about sheep for now. The sheep man is in the next update. But now I'm going to share something interesting that I just found out myself. This might not even be a new feature. I don't know. But fish come in different sizes now. If you spawn a bunch of salmon, sometimes you get a big one and sometimes you get a small one. But if you kill them, you get the exact same amount of salmon no matter what size it is. This also works on cod. No, it doesn't. This also works on squids. There's baby squids now, which is awesome because, I mean, it's pretty cool. Not much to say about that. Did that squid just turn into a baby when I punched it? I don't even know, man. There isn't really much to say about a lot of these updates, like the lodestone now being made with an iron ingot instead of netherite. And it can be found in ruined portals. It was already found in bridge bastions though, so like who was even crafting it anyways? And I just said something about one of the updates, so I guess I was wrong. Beacon beams are wider now when you are far away. You can find bundles in villages. I didn't even know the bundle got added to the game. It was like a mythical feature that I thought would never be obtainable in survival. And camels can now spawn naturally in the desert. All those things are random and have nothing to do with each other. But other than camels, the desert actually has gotten quite a few updates. To start off, we can get flowers from a cactus now. It's called the cactus flower, and it can be used to make pink dye, or it can just be used as a decoration, like the new dry grass that is found all over the desert as well. Similar to leaf litter, I think this is just an ambient block. I don't think anything can be done with it. It's kind of like the dead bush, except this one doesn't drop sticks. It does come in different sizes though. I also have written down that there are scary sounds in the desert now. I think it's just this sound, which I can't even hear, so it's not really scary. There's new wolf sounds now as well. Wolves now have 1 of 7 random personalities. It's like pandas, except it's wolves. Your wolf can now be angry, big. That's big AF. Your wolf can be cute. Your wolf can be grumpy. Your wolf can be puglin. And finally, your wolf can be sad. There's also still the regular old sounds as well. Big news for cows. Now they have an extruded nose instead of a flat nose. Same thing for mushrooms. Super big news. And you're also able to spawn them from these brand new cow-themed spawn eggs. Along with those eggs, every single spawn egg has been changed to match the mobs that they spawn. Some of my favorites here is the tadpole. That is not a tadpole. The villager. Kind of looks like Easter Island. And the hoglin. I mean, this isn't even an egg anymore. It's just a hoglin. There's also some new test blocks that are added in this update. We got the happy and sad test blocks. These look like a lot of people's skins. We got this one. It's got like a crosshair on it. This one, which has some kind of structure test inside of it. And this chat bubble one that does the same thing as all the other ones, except for the structure one. And what they do is, I really like that they can, it's super cool that they... Another new block is the wildflowers, which are like the pink petals from 1.21, except instead of being found in cherry biomes, these can be found on the ground in birch forests. They work exactly the same as pink petals. You can place 4 of them in one block like this. And you can also find firefly bushes now, which is a type of bush that houses fireflies inside of it, which are not currently a mob in the game. They're just pixels that are found hovering around these bushes. Supposedly you can also hear a buzzing sound when you go near a firefly bush. I am not hearing a buzzing sound though, so I don't know about this. If that wasn't enough ambience though, we also have an alternative to tall grass now, or short grass, as it's apparently called now. For me, both of these were always called tall grass, but I guess I can't do that anymore. Anyways, this is a bush, and it's different to short grass as it's more dense. That's really it. It's a bush, dude, I don't know. You know what everyone wants in their house? A 1-to-1 replica statue of themselves. And this could be a possibility in the future by adding the ability to give armor stands player skins. It would be a little bit weird having mannequins in your single player world, but I can definitely see this being used a lot in multiplayer. Minecraft 1.22 has been speculated to be the end update. Although this is not confirmed, if 1.22 does bring new updates to the end, one of the updates we would be seeing is a new ore. Radium ore has been under review by Mojang for a while now. It's an ore that would be found in the end that could be smelted to make radium ingots, which could then be turned into a radium block. Radium blocks emit light, and they would be radioactive, applying poison to anything near it. So building your house out of it probably isn't ideal. You know how the wandering trader has llamas? Not anymore. Well, imagine if this dog was this villager's pet. That's right, villagers could have pets in the future. The concept is, if you attack a villager, his pet will come defend him just like the golem does. Now, I think this is a really cool idea, as long as it doesn't get too crazy. Waves could be added to Minecraft. Now, this is one of the more possible changes to be added in the summer update, as it matches the whole ambient theme that Mojang is going for. I think waves would also make the water and vibrant visuals look way better than the current flat Lego design that we've seen so far. Obviously, the waves wouldn't be this crazy though, but it would be cool if they were. It's kind of fun to surf these in a boat. We could also see seals being added to the ocean in the future as well. The seal does have a ton of similarities to the dolphin though, so it would probably take a full ocean update to see seals added to the game, which could also bring the addition of crabs and lobsters to the game. These mobs would be the size of a silverfish, and they probably would attack you with claws if you go near them. You could get crab and lobster meat from killing crabs, and you could even catch them with crab traps as a new alternative to fishing. Another simple change related to the ocean is the ability to repair tridents. Right now you need another trident to repair your current trident in an anvil, when instead you could just be able to use prismarine shards to make repairing tridents a lot more affordable. Another simple change we could see is the ability to push chests with a piston. I didn't even know that this was impossible until seeing this suggestion, and if you play Bedrock, you wouldn't know this is impossible because it is possible on Bedrock. With Mojang adding a lot of features from Bedrock to Java, this could possibly be added to Java very soon. Another thing that could possibly be added is double jumping. A double jump enchantment could be added to boots that would probably work similar to how it does on servers. Now this would kind of make jump boost potions completely useless, as double jump would just be way better, but it's still a cool concept for a new enchantment, or possibly a new type of boots that are specifically made for double jumping. I say this because we could also be seeing a new type of boots called speedy boots, as Steve calls these things speedy boots in the Minecraft movie. So a new type of boots that gives you speed naturally could be added in the future, although these might just be soul speed boots that have been given a cool look just for the purpose of the movie. We could also see backpacks being added in 1.22. Similar to bundles, which were just recently added, backpacks could serve as an inventory inside of an inventory, or even add slots to your inventory when worn, although I would assume they would get a new item slot if this was the case, because wearing a backpack over a chestplate could be a bad idea. Another wearable item that could be coming to the game is mob heads. Okay, obviously mob heads are already in the game. I mean more mob heads than the ones we currently have. Like maybe a head for every single mob in the game. Having every mob head in the game would be super cool, as it would give people a new challenge to collect every head in the game. Wait, how did they get this? Colored stairs and slabs have been missing from the game for a while, and new terracotta and concrete slabs, stairs, and walls could fix this issue, or just adding every single color of wood could fix this too. I wonder which one Mojang will do first. Also, changing the color of the sky could be a feature coming to the game soon. You wouldn't be able to do this in survival, but a command to change the color of the sky could be very cool. And we could even have different sky colors for certain biomes, kind of like the fog in the nether, or even just biomes where it's always night or always daytime. I'm looking at one biome in specific. Dog beds could be added to Minecraft, which would serve as a way to have a more permanent pet in Minecraft. As similar to how beds work on players, dog beds would set a respawn point for your dog. This would stop your friends from killing your dog when you're not online, and instead they would have to be a little bit more creative. We could also see skeleton dogs, which are dogs that have been struck by lightning. A skeleton would no longer be afraid of this dog, as it is now a skeleton dog, and you could maybe even find skeletons walking around with their own skeleton dogs, kind of like how skeletons can ride skeleton horses. Also under review is a giant biome. No, not like this. This guy wrote an entire essay about the giant biome, but pretty much it's a biome where everything is giant. I shrunk myself to give you an idea of how this would look. It's based off of the giant mob, where everything in the biome would be normal sized for the giant. The biome would be extremely rare, and the fights would be a lot more challenging as the bigger mobs would have more health, but because of this they would also drop more items. Imagine mining diamond ore in the giant biome, or a ruby, sapphire, and crystals in the new magic forest biome. I don't know how this post is under review, but this biome is a similar concept to the giant biome. It has giant trees, flowers, mushroom houses, and there's a new mob that would be the opposite of giant, the fairy. This kind of reminds me of the Twilight Forest mod, and it would be cool to get a biome with magic. Just please don't add spells. Spells get way too confusing. Another mod that could come to Minecraft is the Aether mod, but not really. The Skylands dimension is under review though. Based on the old Floating Islands world type, you would build a portal kind of like a nether portal that could take you to a new dimension that possibly has a new boss. Obviously I'm using the Aether for reference because the concept is very similar. The only difference here is that if you fall in the void in the Skylands, you get teleported down to the overworld. You don't just die. Beavers could also be a mob that is added in the future in Minecraft. A beaver would come with a new structure called a beaver dam, which is a reference to a beaver dam in real life if you couldn't tell. Beaver dams would be made of a new stick block, and beavers could even drop beaver skin to be used to make beaver armor, and this beaver armor would turn you into a beaver when you swim underwater. We could also see an oasis being added to the desert, as there have been a few desert updates recently. It would be a structure with palm trees, water, and bamboo. I do wonder if this would function like a real oasis though. Wait, where did it go? Alright, I'm gonna die of thirst now, GG. I wouldn't die of thirst if I had a grappling rope though. I wouldn't die of thirst at all in Minecraft actually. Wait, how? A grappling rope is a possible future item that can be used to go up things without using blocks. Beyond that, I don't see it being very useful, as there are blocks in Minecraft which you can use to navigate terrain. But it's Minecraft, so you never know. Rice could also be a new plant coming to Minecraft, except you would have to plant rice in water instead of in the ground. You could then harvest rice and use it to make some new food. You could have just a bowl of rice, you could make sushi, you could even make fried rice in a furnace, or even a bag of rice, which could be a cool new block used to stop flowing water. Ignore that almost every other block in the game can already do that. A couple of insane things that I don't even know how they are under review is the red dragon that Notch planned to add years ago, which is still somehow under review to this day. The water dragon, as if the red dragon wasn't enough. I will say that the water dragon may have inspired the warden a little bit with the mention of the deep dark ocean. Hopefully it did, because this is way too many dragons. A giraffe, which isn't that crazy. I just say this because a Savannah update just happened and there was no giraffe added, so we probably won't be seeing a giraffe anytime soon. And finally the Kraken, which is an underwater boss that is basically a giant squid that can grab you and shoots ink at you. This is chiseled copper, and because of this cool X design on the sides of the block, it actually makes a really nice crate if placed with some other crate looking things. And if you place these blocks in a 2x2 like this, and then place signs all around the sides, you can make an even bigger and better looking crate. You can also mix in some of the brand new copper trapdoors on the side of the crates, and you can even change the middle block to make some empty looking crates. Or we can just remove the block in the middle completely and we get a cool little animal house. I promise I'm gonna let him out, guys. If you want to make a more humane pet house, you can place some trapdoors like this, add some carpets on the bottom, and then put the new heavy core in the front, which kind of looks like a food bowl. And if you want some more food for your pet, you can place a chiseled copper like this and put a sea pickle on the top, and it kind of looks like a melon or something. We should probably just stick to the actual melon though. I don't know if I cooked with this one. You can place some copper trapdoors on top of campfires like this to make a cool looking stove, and now we can cook the melon if we want. And if you want to make a chair to sit down and have a meal, here's one chair design using the new trapdoors, and here is another. This chair is a little bit goofy. In real life it would be like 3 meters tall. Another new block coming in 1.21 is the crafter, which surprisingly has a lot of different building use. To start, you can make a stove by placing the crafter on top of some campfires, and then adding a few more kitchen details like this. And you can also use a crafter as cabinets if you place it facing this way instead. Who knew the crafter was the ultimate kitchen block? The bottom of the crafter can also be used as a roof, so I guess that makes it the third time it's used in this kitchen. And if you place it on the ground, it kind of looks like some kind of mat that is meant to keep the floor clean. Might as well just build the whole house out of crafters at this point. More household items that can be built with a crafter is this PC where the crafter is used as a monitor, or you can go all out and build a flat screen TV using 2 different angles of the crafter like this. Don't mind me, just sitting on my crafter couch watching my crafter TV. You can also place a crafter like this and then put a few seats around it to create an actual functioning game of tic-tac-toe. Okay, how am I losing to myself? And if you want to protect your house from intruders, you can use the crafter as a keypad like this. If you place a tough wall with a trapdoor on each side, and then add a crafter on top, and place a few more details like this, you can make a telephone booth looking thing like this. And if you look at this side of the crafter, it kind of looks like a face, which means you're actually able to build the crafter man like this. Now I know why we installed the security on the first door. This guy is not messing around. Coming up next, we have a few build hacks that are pretty tough. Tough bricks look kinda like stone bricks, so you can mix them together to make a nice looking pattern. Just like how chiseled tough and polished tough go together nicely if you place them on the floor. You can also use the top of chiseled tough bricks to make a really satisfying floor design like this. This is so cool, it almost looks like it's 3D. And if you take the side of regular chiseled tough and place it in a cave, it kinda looks like old transcriptions on the wall. This doesn't really work the same with chiseled tough bricks though, it kinda looks out of place. These brand new chiseled tough blocks can be used to make really nice looking pillars because of their unique designs, and if you want to make a fence out of tough walls, it actually looks really nice mixing them all together. You can even put one more block up on some parts like this, and then place a heavy core on top, and it kind of looks like a light that isn't on. If you pair the new tough walls with a few iron blocks like this, it looks like some kind of power station thing that would probably look good on top of a building or something. And I also found this robot guy you can make, which uses all the new blocks in the build, including the heavy cores for the eyes. I don't know why, but but it kind of looks more like a frog than a robot. Speaking of heavy cores, the heavy core is actually a really useful block for builds. Well, it probably is for someone who actually knows how to build. But still, you can place it on top of a table like this, and it kind of looks like a mug or a thermos. And as we saw earlier, if you place it in an item frame, it kind of looks like eyes, which is especially scary if you just place it around a dark cave like this. I'd say I sure hope no one's watching me, but this is a video, so I hope you are. A mace is made from a heavy core, and it kind of looks like a utensil when it's placed on the table from earlier. And if you want to use the heavy cores as eyes without an item frame, I accidentally built this crab out of tuff. You can also build this crab out of copper if you prefer your crabs to be cooked before you put eyes on them. Remember what we could have had instead of the armadillo. Now obviously our crab is pretty cursed, but there are some even more insane build hacks coming later in this video. But first we have these copper trees, which are just oak trees except the leaves are replaced with copper grates. And if you really want to 1.21ify this, you can replace the logs with a tuff block of your choice to really make this look like a 100% real tree. You can also place a bunch of water beside your tree like this, and you can even make one of these water lilies with a copper trapdoor and a coral fan on top. Why is this thing called a brain coral fan? What is Minecraft hiding from us? Whatever they're hiding is probably in these pipes, which you can make out of copper trapdoors like this. And if you want to just make a bridge out of copper trapdoors, you can do that. Not really sure if this is a build hack though, it's just a bridge. Copper grates are really useful, as since they are see-through, you can use them to make windows like this. Guys, I swear I'm not in prison. And if you want to use them for something that looks less like you committed a crime, you can make some fences by mixing them with other copper blocks as well. You can also just switch the grates out for a trapdoor for a different window design, and this also works with the fences, although it looks a lot easier for trespassers to climb them now. The copper bulb is a new block that emits light, and you know what that means? Lamps. You can make this simple lamp design using either oxidized or normal copper plus some similar colored fences like this, or if you want to be fancier, you can place some copper blocks as a base like this, put a tough wall above it here, and then add some fences on top of the wall, and finally a slab, a trapdoor, and a bulb like this. Now this is a better looking lamp than the first one. But if you want to be even fancier, you can make a double lamp like this, and honestly I think this one is a little bit too overkill. I mean, why do we even need a third lantern in the middle? And with these lamps, you're probably going to want to add a road underneath them so that they have something to actually light up. And if you want to add a sewer entrance, you can move two of the stairs so that they are facing like this, and then add some copper grates underneath to look like a cool sewer entrance. Just make sure that you don't accidentally drop your phone in it. Now it's almost time for some cursed build hacks. But first we have this copper gear, which can be made using some of the new copper blocks, and if this gear is too much for you, you can shrink it down a bit like this if we remove the trapdoors. You can also place a copper block on the roof of a cave, and then place a wall and a fence underneath to make an artificial dripstone like this, and this actually comes in both colors as you can see, although the oxidized one looks more like an icicle than a dripstone. Another thing you can hang on the roof is a copper bulb like this to make another type of lamp, and if you want to build a copper staircase, you can now add some copper grates underneath the stairs, and also put some copper trapdoors on the sides for more detail. If you want to add some scary windows to your house, you can use the new trial spawners as an ominous window design like this, and this can also be used as a fence design if you have some kind of haunted mansion or something. A trial spawner can also be used as a bird cage if you right click on it with a parrot spawn egg so it traps the bird inside. Of course this is except for the fire, and the spinning, and the fact that it spawns parrots. Okay, that one was kind of bad, I'm not gonna lie. An ominous key can kind of look like a painting of a tree if you place it in an item frame on the wall of your house. And another thing that can go in an item frame is a breeze rod paired with a blaze rod, which is meant to look like the hot and cold on a water tap. Something that's less of a build hack and more of a cool trick is this wind charge launcher, which you can make by angling 4 dispensers full of wind charges towards you. Okay, I don't know how it turned infinite, but I'm not complaining. It's kind of like a trampoline now. If you place some copper bulbs like this, and then put some tuff in the middle, you can create a portal to the secret copper dimension. And now it's time to show you some absolutely cursed build hacks that should not be used ever, mainly because they're really stupid. First off, if you throw a wind charge, and then use the new /tick freeze command, you can make a really cool smoke effect that you can use in your builds, although now the entire rest of the game is frozen, so this might not be that useful. You can also trap a bogged in some sand like this, and it will make it look like someone died while traveling the desert. When an armadillo rolls up into a ball, you can use this opportunity to use the armadillo as a soccer ball that you can even play with using a knockback sword like this. And a rolled up armadillo can also look like some boxes on the ground or on some shelves depending on where you place it. Just like earlier, if you put a bogged in some powdered snow, it will look like somebody died while traveling falling in the snow. The only problem with this one is that the bog actually does die in the snow eventually. And finally, if you spawn a breeze in some water, it kinda looks like a jellyfish. Okay, yeah, that's enough cursed build hacks. That one was insanely stupid. This is a street drain that is built using the new copper grates as well as some tough blocks, and it's a shame that you can't waterlog the copper grates, as this would actually be really cool. And if you just place a copper bulb in the sky like this and add a lever underneath, it can look like one of those floating lanterns that are for Chinese New Year, I think. I'm probably wrong about that, don't get mad at me. You can also switch the copper bulb out for one of these frog lights like this, and then you can place either oxidized trapdoors or regular copper trapdoors on the outside for another one of these lamp designs as well. And now with these trapdoors, you can also use them as a curtain thing on the side of your windows instead of using them as windows like we did earlier. And if you want to make another lamp, like we haven't made enough already, we can place some of the new tough blocks like this and then put a copper bulb with copper trapdoors around it like this. And another weird lamp design I've seen is this copper bulb on top of a dragon egg with some buttons on it so you can actually turn it on and off. And somehow I forgot the fact that these new trapdoors can be used as railings on the side of like a factory upper level. And you can also place some copper grates to make a nice floor to go with the trapdoor railings as well. And we can finally make a power station using some of the blocks like this to complete our factory. For these next build hacks, I decided to go find them in the new structure, the trial chambers. And the first one is just using these copper grates as like an entry to a tunnel type of thing. You could also use these copper grates as like support beams on the roof, similar to how they are used in the structure here. And there are some really cool mixes of tough blocks used in the wall design of this structure, which isn't really a build hack, but it's still pretty useful to know. I also found out that you can actually waterlog these grates, which makes the street drain from earlier look a lot better now that I know this. And you can also build the face of a breeze like this if you ever wanted to do this, although I'm not really sure why you would. This combo of blocks looks pretty cool in the middle of a fountain, and you can use these trapdoors to make little hidden tunnels inside of your builds as well. The end of this tunnel looks pretty cool, especially with the X in the middle. It kind of looks like one of those things you have to turn to open a vault door. And probably my favorite Mojang approved build that I found is this secret room in the trial chambers, which isn't a build hack, but I just thought it was cool that I found a secret room. There's also another secret room. This is so cool. This is a TV that sort of looks like plankton for some reason, and to build this, you need to place an item frame with a glass pane over a stone block, and then you have to throw 2 tridents at the top like this. You can also build a laptop using a similar setup, except using a pressure plate and trapdoor instead. Another household item you can build with a pressure plate and trapdoor is a chair, which is basically just a laptop on top of scaffolding. There's also another chair which you can build using any type of wood, but it's a little big. And there's this chair you can make as well, which actually looks pretty cool. Just make sure you don't fall through the cushion while you're sitting on it. Something that is in almost everyone's house is a chandelier. What? You don't have one? Okay, maybe it's not this fancy, but I'm sure everyone has a small chandelier that can be built like this with signs all around the outside of it. It's more like a lamp, I'm pretty sure, but calling it a chandelier makes it seem fancy. If you want to build a kitchen, you'll probably need a fridge, and luckily you can build one using quartz, some item frames with this slab in it, and some banners. And if you even want to take this a step further, you can place a dispenser behind the banner and then put some food in it so it's more realistic. Speaking of food, you can use a waterlogged slab to make pasta like this. And you can also use a dispenser to place some armor stands inside of a slab and make a tiny grill cooking meat like this. If you eat too much food, you're gonna want to use the bathroom, and luckily you can make a toilet by placing a diamond helmet as water under a stair like this. And after using the bathroom, you might want to light some scented candles, which you can make really long by placing an end rod underneath. Finally, you can make a garbage bin that actually works by placing a bunch of paintings around a cactus. And if for some reason you want a large clock in your house, you can build one by placing some slabs on the side, a slab and sign like this, a block with an item frame on top, and then a bell in the middle. It's supposed to do that every hour. This very large trophy that definitely wouldn't fit on a shelf. And a super large rifle that is made out of wood, which really has me questioning if it would work. You can also make a witch pot, which is just a respawn anchor with trapdoors around it. And you can make a dragon head that looks like it has a sword going through it, and you can even add ketchup. That's definitely what this is. If those builds weren't random enough, you can make a guy who got locked up using item frames and an armor stand like this. And you can make a Lego brick if you manage to get your hands on some colored heads. defense. If you didn't like the idea of killing the Ender Dragon earlier, you can just make a regular upside down sword like this. And by placing a carpet underneath a block like this, and then putting an armor stand through it, you can create a chessboard by giving it a chain helmet and putting a pressure plate underneath it. If you build a cube of ice like this, and then put a Steve armor stand inside of it, you can push some ice on top of him and make a man who is freezing to death. You can also make some cracked ice by placing glow lichen on top of it, and you can build a penguin by using some concrete like this, a beak, and then placing some banners on the front and the sides. You can place a stair in a slab like this, some signs on the side, and a fence gate on the back to make a sled. And if you want to give this sled some power, you can attach a dog to the front of it like this. Come on, hurry up, go faster. If you need more power for your sled, you can put some stairs like this, add a carpet on the back, and then place some fence gates on the side to make a reindeer. Okay, now this thing should be super fast. We got Rudolph pulling it. Reindeers help deliver gifts, so here's a gift made from a kelp block and candles, and here's a happy kid who just got what he wanted for Christmas. I'm not gonna let that happen. I'm a hater. You can make a small tree by placing azalea leaves on top of a dead bush, and you are even able to make that tree dead with some mangrove roots on top instead. You can make another cool plant by placing coral on top of some waterlogged slabs, and if you want to make some bulrushes, you can place some glass panes like this with a brown candle on top. You can also make another type of bulrush like this, as seen in my previous build hack video. Another outdoor build is the swing, which is made by placing some upside down lightning rods like this, and then putting some trapdoors underneath. You can also place 4 trapdoors like this with a waterlogged slab in the middle, and then place an egg and some coral on top to make a nest. You can even put this in a tree to be more realistic, although it looks very unnatural. There are a lot of bugs outside, and you can make one of them by placing a button through an item frame like this. You can also make a water cart, whatever that is, by placing some slabs like this, with trapdoors and some fence gates on the side, and then some barrels and a sign on top, and a tripwire as a faucet like this. Another thing with wheels is a wheelbarrow, which is made with these 3 blocks, and you can even fill it up by putting some compost in the middle. You can place a candle on top of melons and pumpkins to give them a stem, or you can use a sea pickle depending on how big you want it to be. You can also make a pineapple by putting this vine thing on top of a shroom light like this, and if you want to build a cake, you can place a piece of dirt and put some snow on top, and then you can add redstone on the top as a strawberry. This cake probably tastes really bad though, it's made out of dirt. Apparently fish barrels are real, and you can make a salmon barrel with a raw copper block and some trapdoors on the side. Or you can change it out for a raw iron block if you want to make a cod barrel instead. Another type of barrel is a honey barrel, and this time I'm actually not sure what that is. I've never heard of a honey barrel before. If you want to make your dinner table look more realistic, you can place a pressure plate on top of an item frame and place some food in it to look like a plate like this. And you can even add some condiments on the table and place some sea pickles on the side, which kind of look like cups. So much detail just for you to eat all the food in 2 seconds. If you have a dog, you can build a small doghouse by placing 5 trapdoors like this with a couple more trapdoors on the top. And you can even place a dog bowl on the side to give him something to drink. Another dog bowl you can do is this design using a decorated pot, and pairing them together looks like both food and drink. If you don't have a dog, you might have a cat, and there's also a cool cat structure you can build. First, place a scaffolding and trapdoors like this, add some fences on the back, and then place a couple carpets on top, and then you have a nice place for your cat to live. You might also have a parrot, in which you can also give a house. Well, sort of. In order to do this build, you have to push a piece of glass over top of the parrot, which is probably seen as animal cruelty. So something you can do that is less cruel is this bird bath, which uses a waterlogged slab and some signs on the side. Or you can place a hanging sign like this as a parrot perch. You are also able to use a bell if you don't think the hanging sign looks good enough. And you can also build a cage, which is slightly less evil, and it's built using fences like this, a slab and a trapdoor on top, and a chain and scaffolding attached underneath. This build also exceeds the build size limit for this video, but I'm just gonna let it slide because it looks pretty cool. The last build in the pets category is this snail, which I'm not really sure if it counts as a pet. Snails are also really slow, so the fact that it doesn't move might actually not matter. Something that for some reason isn't in Minecraft is balloons, but with a colored block, a fence, and a little animal cruelty, it is actually possible to have balloons in Minecraft. Another thing that is also not in Minecraft is hot springs, but that can be changed by placing some trapdoors and some campfires underneath a pool of water. You can also do the same technique by placing campfires under lava to get some smoky lava, and this time you don't even need the trapdoors. I would be careful when swimming in this one though, because it might be a little too hot. If you're tired of how the regular TNT looks, or just scared of building with it in case something like this happens, then you can actually place a barrel like this and put some signs on the side that say TNT to make an old looking block of TNT. You can even highlight the signs in white to make the text stand out and add a candle on top to look like a fuse. If you aren't afraid of using using TNT to build, you can also place a bunch of TNT like this and then put some candles on top, and they will kind of look like individual dynamite sticks. You can even light them if you want, but just be careful you don't accidentally misclick. If you do set off the TNT by accident, it might be possible you need to build a grave, and luckily you can do that with 3 podzol blocks like this, an anvil, a skull of your choice, and a couple of flowers, and then you have a tiny gravestone for whoever died as a result of your TNT accident. Another random build hack is this super thin ladder, which is just a ladder placed on trapdoors, and something really cool you can do is place trapdoors alternating like this with ladders on each of them, and you can make a 1-block spaced working ladder. These tiki torches, which you can make using bamboo fences, and if you want to add some extra detail, you can attach a mob with a lead to the top, but obviously you will have to. You can also make one of those bulrush things that are found in swamps, and if you want to make corn, you can place a bamboo fence on top of 2 bamboo sticks instead. You can also place some bamboo fences alongside some real bamboo to make it look like dead bamboo, and you can even take it a step further with some oak fences which look extra dead. If you want to sell some bamboo on the black market, you can place some signs around the bamboo blocks and it will look like it's packaged up, or you can also stack a bunch of bamboo rafts to make a pile of bamboo. Another cool thing you can do with bamboo is place an item frame underneath a bamboo button to make a block of cheese, but this is probably some pretty moldy cheese. There are a lot of things you can make with a decorated pot, such as this pillar design, this tiny lamp, or this palm tree, which you can even mix with some of the different designs to look like carvings in the wood. But something really cool you can do with these pots is if you place one of these in the ground and then you put a carpet on top of it, it kind of looks like a pet bowl for your dog or your cat or your person. You can also place a pot underneath a moss carpet, and depending on what's around you, it can either look like an anthill or a landmine. If you place these pots with a bunch of gold, they kind of look like money bags, and if you place them with some TNT and then light a candle on top of it, it kind of looks like a bomb that's about to explode. Speaking of bombs, you can also hang one of these pots from a chain and then put a campfire under it like this, and it kind of looks like a cooking pot. You can also build a faucet type thing coming out of the ground and then place a glass pane in a pot underneath it to make it look like it's being filled up with water. Another cool thing you can do is place some pots in a palm tree and they will look like coconuts. And you can place a pot as a base for a street light like this, or you can even place it at the bottom of some bushes, which looks slightly better than a cauldron. You can also place a couple of these pots on top of a house, and if you combine this with some cobwebs, it actually looks like a chimney. But one of the most interesting uses for these pots is to make a punching bag that you are actually able to use in game. Okay, you can't really use it, but you also can't tell me I'm not punching it. Now obviously those hacks are cool, but it's time to show you some of the most illegal build hacks known to man. If you apply this armor trim to a leather helmet and then place it 1 block deep on an armor stand, you can use a piston to push a bookshelf through it, and it kind of looks like a stray book sitting on top of the shelf. Another thing you can do is dig out a big hole and then fill the whole thing with string, and after that you can do a little bit of animal cruelty and cover the whole thing up with carpets to get this rug design. Huh, that's weird. It looks like my rug is moving. Something else you can do with the sniffer is you can place some blocks through a sniffer's nose and then add a slab and some signs on the side to get a really interesting cushion design. Or if you're really ballin', you can use a sniffer's snout as a base to make a golden sink. Another thing you can do with a sniffer's nose is you can place it in the roof and then put a couple of fences and an end rod underneath it to make a lamp. Okay, this one was kind of a stretch. You can still see his face. Something you can do with a camel is you can place its head through a roof and it kind of looks like one of those bear heads you see on a wall in some rich guy's house. And you can also spawn a camel in the ground and then place some sand over top of its head to make it kind of look like a little sand dune coming out of the ground. You can even place a saddle on top of the camel to make it so you can sit down on the beach with a towel beneath you. Now those were definitely some illegal build hacks, but they still aren't the best build hacks in this video. This is a pumpkin, this is a melon, and this is an eggplant. Okay, it's not actually an eggplant, it's cherry wood with a sea pickle on top, but it actually looks pretty close. Another melon trick you can do is place bamboo planks with glow lichen beside a pumpkin, and it kind of looks like a dead pumpkin. Also, if you place a bamboo block in a field of melons, it kind of looks like some kind of squash. Everyone has seen these trapdoors being used as a fence, but you can actually use a hanging sign to make a pretty cool fence as well. Speaking of hanging signs, you can do some really cool things with them, such as this one-way door, which works by hanging a sign from the top and then hanging another sign underneath it. You can also make a little doggy door on the side of your house like this, or you can place it in front of your brand new cherry wood doghouse as well. Staying on the topic of farming, you can place 2 fences in the air like this, and if you place a hanging sign underneath it, it will look like a shovel that is sticking out of the dirt. You can also replace these fences with lightning rods or end rods to make different types of handles as well. If you want to make a table, you can place some hanging signs like this to make table feet, and you can even make the table legs a bit longer if you like things that are longer. Hanging signs can also be used to make a broken jungle bridge or a useless ladder, depending on how you see it. And you can place them in a pattern like this to look like a gate that is restricting your access to something. Something I bet you've never seen is a stoplight in Minecraft. Okay, you've probably seen one, I just didn't know what to say, but by placing a red sign, an oak sign, and a blue sign like this, it can kind of look like a stoplight even though two of the colors are wrong. Another thing you can do with the different sign colors is hang them over top of a campfire like this to make different stages of meat cooking. But probably the most interesting hanging sign hack is this parrot perch design. I'm just kidding, it's actually a working swing which can be made using two chains like this, a hanging sign on each side, a trapdoor on the bottom middle, and then a boat as a seat. And after you do that, you have a working swing. Well, you can't really swing on it, but I mean I'm sitting on it, so it kinda works. You can also make another swing by doing the same thing as before, except instead of placing one trapdoor, you place 3 on the bottom and then 3 on the back to get another really cool swing design. This time you aren't able to sit on it. If you're trying to be some type of supervillain, all you have to do is place some redstone behind one of the chiseled bookshelves, and then you can attach a couple regular bookshelves to some sticky pistons to make a secret door inside of your library. Something else you can do with chiseled bookshelves is build a cool floor design like this, and you can even make the bookshelf look like eyes when you put a slab in front of it. If you place the bookshelf with a stone slab in a cave, it kinda looks like something is staring at you through a crack in the wall, but that isn't the coolest thing you can do with the chiseled bookshelf. If you place a bunch of bookshelves beside each other, you can actually build things using the books inside of the bookshelves. I guess suspicious sand isn't the only thing that's sus in this update. Minecraft 1.20 adds a piglin head, and what can you do with it? Well, to start, you can place it on top of an armor stand, but that's boring. Instead, if you want a piglin in the overworld, you can place a piglin head on top of a sign, and it will kind of look like a tiny piglin. And if you really want to be him, you can make a hanging sign float, attach 2 signs on the side, and then add a banner on the back and a piglin head on top to create the boss piglin. His outfit kind of looks like Lord Farquaad. If you want to build some tiny birds, you probably wouldn't think of using a piglin head, but because of the floppy ears, it actually kinda looks like birds in the sky. Of course, you have to make sure not to look at the other side though. If you place a piglin head on the ground and then put a bunch of redstone around it, it looks like a piglin was just decapitated. And if you take it a step further, you can build up with some fences and place some chains and hang a red sign under it to make it look like a guillotine just chopped off its head. Have you ever wanted to build a giant snail? You probably haven't. But you can by placing a cherry slab, a sideways cherry log, and a nether brick wall with a couple of candles on the top. Now we have giant snails to go with our giant spiders. Another giant animal you can build with cherry wood is a pig. If you place 2 upside down stairs like this and add some slabs on the top, you get a pig. You can then add a button on each side for eyes and a cherry button for a nose and a tail for extra detail. Speaking of pigs, you can also make pork with cherry wood. If you place a sideways cherry log and then attach it to 2 fences using chains, it kinda looks like a piece of ham is being cooked over a fire. Another cool cherry wood build is this garden fence, which can be made using an illegal trapdoor technique that I didn't even know existed. You can even climb this thing if you try hard enough, so that's cool. Another thing you can put in your garden is a cherry tree, but not that one is lame. If you use cherry fences as logs and pair it with azalea leaves, you can make a really cool looking miniature tree. Something else that looks cool is this trapdoor window, which you can make using bamboo or cherry wood trapdoors depending on your build. In Minecraft 1.20, a pink boat will be added, but if you think this design is boring, you can actually make your own pink boat instead. If you place some slabs in the water like this and then add a fence in the middle, you can move 2 boats as close to the fence as possible and then add some trapdoors on the side and a flag on the top to make a better looking boat. The only problem is this boat doesn't really move. If you place a netherite upgrade in an item frame, you can use it as an up or down arrow for like an elevator or something, I don't really know. Apparently you can clutch using the new wind charges. Okay, so let's just jump off here. And yes, this one is true. I didn't take any fall damage. And speaking of fall damage, does a breeze take any fall damage? And yeah, this one is true as well. All breezes were harmed in the making of this video. Does the seed trial chambers spawn you directly on top of the new trial chambers? No, it looks like this one isn't true, unless it's invisible. Apparently alongside taking no fall damage, breezes also deflect arrows. Okay, this is insane. The breeze might be the most powerful mob, or maybe not. Can a wind charge launch TNT? Okay, so we've already clutched with a wind charge, now we're making a TNT cannon. Yeah, it works, but it doesn't really send it that far. Can you make a trampoline with dispensers and wind charges? So if we just fill a bunch of dispensers like this, and then put a pressure plate in the middle, we should get launched super high. And yes, this one is true. It sent me way higher than 8 blocks. Can you one-shot the ender dragon with a mace? Okay, I'm pretty sure this one is true, but I heard they nerfed the mace a bit, so I gotta try it again. And yeah, this one is still true, although this isn't much better than just using beds. Apparently there is also new Minecraft credits. I don't actually know if this is new. Has anyone ever seen this background? Does a mace work with slow falling? This is so slow. They weren't messing around when they said slow falling. No, this one is not true. You have to risk death to use the mace. Can you put channeling on a mace? No, you can't put channeling on the mace. You cannot become Thor. Can you make a warden trial spawner? Yeah, if you right-click the trial spawner with a spawn egg, you can make any type of trial. I think I'm gonna be doing this from now on. Does mining a trial spawner give you loot? No, it gives you nothing. It's just a waste of time. Can you mine a trial spawner with silk touch? I'm gonna regret breaking this thing again, aren't I? Yeah, this one is also not true. There is no reason to break the trial spawner. Apparently you can't suffocate in a copper grate. So if I just press this lever here, yeah, I'm just chilling. Kinda looks like I'm in jail though. Guys, please subscribe so I can make bail. Does a beacon beam shine through a copper grate? Yes, this one is actually true, but it doesn't change the color of the beam, unfortunately. Will the luck effect give me better trial loot? Who put cave spiders in a trial? Yeah, this one is probably not true. I don't think this is very good loot. Are spiders afraid of armadillos? So this one doesn't really make any sense. I don't know what kind of gang rivalry they have, but it's true. Will a wind charge travel forever if it doesn't hit anything? So let's throw a wind charge. Yeah, that one traveled really far, so I'm gonna have to say it's true. Can you dye wolf armor? Yeah, this one is true. Now dogs can finally have some drip. And apparently you can also dye horse armor? I've never heard of this before, so let's see. Okay, it obviously doesn't work with diamond, but let's check leather. Yeah, this one is true. Has this always been in the game and I'm just stupid? Every time there's a new update, we gotta try to Jeb underscore a mob. Nope, you cannot get rainbow dog armor. What about putting an armor trim on dog armor? No, this one is also not true, but it's understandable, because that would be too much drip, honestly. Apparently mobs can't see you through copper grates, so I'm just gonna put myself in jail for the second time this video. And yeah, the mobs just can't see me. I guess these fences really work. Can you break a decorated pot with a firework? So I've heard of breaking these with projectiles, but not a firework. And yeah, this one is true. That's actually really cool. And not only can you break one decorated pot, apparently you can break multiple at once. Yeah, this one is true as well, and it's actually super satisfying to watch. Can you shear a wolf to remove its armor? Okay, so they're just making anything up now. Never mind, this one is true, for some reason. Why? And you can also dispense a brush onto an armadillo for a scute. I bet you didn't expect that, because it doesn't really make any sense. And just when you thought it can't get weirder, there is apparently an infinite scute glitch. Yeah, this only works in creative for some reason, because the brush will break in survival, but it's still kind of funny that my man can just never go bald. Apparently there are multiple new music discs in 1.21, so usually there is only one new music disc, but yeah, it appears there is more than one new music disc this time. Why does this sound like an epic Christmas song? Can you name a boat in 1.21? So I'm pretty sure I've tried this before and it doesn't work, and yeah, you still can't name a boat. Nothing has changed. Is there a new copper dimension in this update? Of course there isn't. Mojang is never gonna add a new dimension. Does a copper bulb stay activated with no redstone? So let's just break all this. Yeah, this one is true. I wonder if it ever runs out or just kind of stays like this. Speaking of running out though, apparently oxidized copper bulbs are dimmer. Yeah, this one is true. So I guess it does sort of run out unless you got some wax. Can you make ominous splash potions? Nope, I can't even put the ominous potion in the brewing stand. Does the new oozing potion cause an infinite slime glitch to happen? So if you kill something with an oozing effect, it drops slimes. But what happens if you kill a slime with the effect? This doesn't work. I'm not even sure if they can get the effect. Can you run through cobwebs with the weaving effect? Okay, so it doesn't let me fully run through them, but it's definitely faster. Hold on. Yeah, this is kind of true. It's definitely making me move a bit faster. Apparently you can slow down time in Minecraft 1.21. Yeah, this is true. You just have to type this command to do it. And the same works with speeding up the game as well. These pigs need to chill. I don't know what they've been feeding them. And if you just want to freeze the game completely, apparently that works as well. Yeah, you just type /take freeze and the game becomes frozen. This cow will feel this pain forever. Does the new trial key open iron doors? This one is false. It's used for the trial vaults instead, a way better use than doors. Speaking of doors, can a breeze open them? Come on, shoot the door already. Yeah, this one is true. I guess no house is safe anymore. Can you put armor on a baby wolf? No, unfortunately you cannot. It's probably a few sizes too big. Everyone knows you can undye things with a cauldron, but can you use it to undye a dog's collar? Come on, it's bath time, buddy. No, you cannot. He still has a blue collar. Will a dog with armor survive a hit from a warden? Okay, he survived a lot more than one hit, and it looks like he can even survive a hit with no armor as well. Still didn't seem to help him that much though. Okay, we got a lore update from earlier. Apparently you can breed armadillos with spider eyes, and now it makes sense why the spiders are scared of them. Okay, it still doesn't really. I mean, the spider is at least double the armadillo's size. Will a zoglin attack an armor stand? Okay, this one is just stupid, but let's try it. Nah, there's no way. What about a hoglin? Hoglin seems unfazed. Yeah, I'ma just leave these guys to it, I guess. Can you use a wind charge to move dripstone? So we tried this with TNT earlier, and yeah, this works with dripstone as well. Can you punch a wind charge back at a breeze? So just like a ghast, apparently I can hit this thing back. Yeah, it's true, which makes me question why we can't do this with blazes. Another thing to do with breezes and blazes is they both have rods, and the rods just don't look the same when you hold them. This isn't a myth, it's just something that really annoyed me when I found out. Will trial spawners spawn mobs when there's light? So if you light up a normal spawner, we all know it won't spawn any mobs. But this is not the case for trial spawners. Apparently you can shoot through a copper grate, so this has never worked with anything else before, but let's try it. No, this one is not true. Is a bog able to breathe underwater? Yeah, I don't think this guy's gonna drown anytime soon, so this is true. Is there hidden rooms in the new trial chambers? So I actually already know this one is true, because I found these in my build hacks video that I made for 1.21. Can I wear a heavy core on my head? So the heavy core does kind of look like a mob head, but unfortunately you are not able to wear it as a hat. This is false. Apparently the ender pearl has a new sound. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it didn't make any sound before, so this is true. Will an armadillo die in a snow biome? Let's just place our armadillo here. No, it doesn't seem like it. I think he's chilling, literally. There is a new setting to disable the splash text on the title screen. Yeah, this is true, and I honestly don't know why. Like, why would you want to do this? Is there a new bat texture in Minecraft 1.21? Yes, there is a new bat. Apparently, if you drop a totem of undying on the ground and land on it, you will live. Alright, so we got our totem here, and let's just drop it all the way down. And let's just fall down on top of the totem. Oh my god, that actually worked. What? Apparently you can MLG into a cauldron. Alright, let's just go up on top of the cauldron, and we'll fall all the way down. And no, this one does not work. I still would have died. Apparently naming a rabbit Toast changes his skin. So let's just get our Toast name tag, and we'll place a rabbit like this, and let's just name him. And yeah, it actually changes his skin. I've never seen this skin before. That's actually pretty cool. Apparently an enderman can stand in a cauldron. So as you know, when you put an enderman in water, it just TPs away like that. But what if you put an enderman in a cauldron? Wow, he's actually just standing in the water. He doesn't even TP away. Can fish breathe on land with water breathing? Alright, this one sounds really stupid. There's no way this will work, but let's try it. And now the fish has water breathing, so let's see if it suffocates. Okay, yeah, the fish is taking damage and he died. This one is false. Apparently a gold pickaxe mines faster than netherite. So this is how fast netherite is able to mine stone, and this is how fast gold is able to mine stone. This is actually true. It's noticeably faster. But for some reason, when you put efficiency 5 on both of the pickaxes, the netherite one becomes faster. I don't even understand how that works. Apparently you can make glowing signs. So if we just take our regular sign here, and we get a glowing sack, apparently this will make it glow. No way, it actually makes it glow. How did I not know this exists? Apparently you are also able to dye signs. Alright, so it's the same thing as the ink sack, and yeah, this one works as well. This is so cool. You guys should definitely do what it says on the sign, by the way. It's not me telling you, it's the sign. Apparently you can tow a boat with a lead. So we have our boat right here, and let's just right click it with the lead, and nothing seems to be happening right now. But what if I put a pig in the boat, and then I put a lead on the pig? Okay, it just takes the pig out of the boat. This one isn't true. Apparently 1 block of water is able to hydrate crops that are 4 blocks away. So let's just put our water here, and we'll just hoe all this dirt. And yeah, it's hydrating the crops all the way over here, even though the water is here. Can you smelt an iron door into iron nuggets? So as you know, you can smelt gold and iron tools into nuggets like this. As you can see, I have a nugget right here, but can you do this with iron doors? No, it doesn't look like anything's happening. This is false. Will a baby villager jump on a bed? So let's just spawn a baby villager like this, and apparently he's supposed to just jump on this bed randomly. Okay, well right now he's following his parent, so we have to take care of that. And now let's see if he jumps on this bed. Okay, he's standing on the bed, and yeah, he's jumping on the bed. This one is true. Apparently throwing an XP bottle upwards gives more more XP. So let's just throw it down first. And we got exactly 1 level. And now let's try throwing the bottle upwards. And we got a little bit more XP. This one might be true, but it also might be random, so I'm not really sure if it's true or not. Apparently there's an easy trick to find diamonds 100% of the time. So if we go to the middle of a clay patch like this, and then we go 6 blocks south, apparently under the 7th block, there will always be diamonds. So let's just mine down like this, and we found gold, but that's not diamonds, so let's keep mining, and we've hit the void, and there's no diamonds. I don't think this one is true. Apparently a hoglin can survive a 50 block fall. So we have our hoglin here, and I'm sorry buddy, but you're going off the edge. And no, the hoglin did not survive. This one is false. Apparently you can sleep underneath lava without dying. So we have our lava bed here, and let's just sleep in the bed. And wow, this is actually working. How am I even sleeping in here? Speaking of dying in lava, apparently witches can't die in lava as well. So let's spawn a witch, and she's dying right now. Oh wait, they actually drink the fire res pot and live. This one's true. Witches can't die in lava. Apparently the top of a desert temple fits a full beacon perfectly. So let's just fill in all of this with netherite, because you know this is a perfectly legit beacon. And yeah, now we have a perfectly fitting beacon. I guess we know who really built the pyramids. Apparently you can use a sweetberry bush to clutch. And yeah, this one is true. I took no damage. Apparently a shield can block splash potions. So let's put a harmful potion in this dispenser, and let's just hold our shield out like this. And this one is false. I still got hit by the potion, even though I was blocking it. Apparently foxes can make a 4-block jump. So let's just put a chicken up here, and we'll spawn a bunch of foxes down here. And yeah, they jumped up and got that chicken immediately. This one is true. Apparently you can walk over magma blocks and campfires without taking damage if you have frostwalker boots. So let's just make the frostwalker boots. And yeah, the magma's true. I'm not taking any damage. But what about the campfires? Yeah, this one is also true. That's so cool. I never knew this existed. But now this makes me wonder if you can walk in lava with frostwalker boots and not take any damage. Okay, this one is not true. You still die to lava if you have frostwalker boots on. Apparently you can mine a beacon with your fist. So let's just mine this thing. And yeah, it still drops the beacon. Even though it takes a while to mine it, this one is true. Apparently if you kill a zombie pigman in 1 hit, the other ones won't attack you. So let's just 1-hit this pigman. And yeah, they're not attacking me. This one is true. Can you put a pumpkin on a villager's head with a dispenser? So let's just trap our villager, and we'll put a dispenser here. Now let's add the pumpkin to the dispenser, and let's see if it puts this on his head. Yeah, this one's actually true. The villager's wearing a pumpkin now. Apparently you can trap a warden by quickly placing wool over top of him. So let's just start spawning our warden like this, and if we place wool like this, apparently this traps the warden. And yeah, this one is true. The warden is just kind of trapped in wool now. That's so funny. Apparently you can put out a campfire by right-clicking it with a shovel. And yeah, this is true. It puts out all the campfires instantly. Apparently if you right-click a villager during a raid, it will sweat. So let's just right-click this guy, and I swear I just saw water particles coming from him. Yeah, there's water particles coming from him. This one is true. The villagers really do sweat during the raid. Apparently a dolphin will pick up diamonds. So let's just throw some diamonds to this dolphin, and he's going back for them, I think. And yeah, the dolphin is picking up diamonds. That's so cool. He even throws them back to me. It's just like an LA, but underwater. Will a zombie chase an invisible villager? So we have our zombie right here, and let's just make this villager invisible, and we made the zombie invisible too. Okay, we have to redo that. Alright, let's just try this again. And yeah, he's chasing the invisible villager. This guy has some really good eyesight, I guess. Will a grindstone remove a curse from an item? So let's just put these pants in the grindstone, and no, it literally does nothing. It just keeps the curse of binding on it. Apparently if you trick a skeleton into lighting TNT, it will make creepers drop a ton of music discs. So let's just get the skeleton to shoot the TNT like this, and he shot the TNT, so let's see what happens. And yeah, they dropped a ton of music discs. That's so cool. I had no idea you could get music discs like this. Apparently you can milk goats. Okay, I don't know how I've never heard of this one, but it actually makes sense. So let's see if it gives me milk. And yeah, the goat actually gives me milk. How did I not know this is true? Can you put 2 parrots on your shoulder? So let's just tame our parrots like this. And we got 1 parrot on our shoulder. Let's go for 2. Okay, I don't really know if this one's true. He doesn't seem to be getting on. Oh wait, it actually worked. He got on my shoulder right when I thought it was false. Okay, I guess this one is true. You can dual wield parrots, but can you get 3 parrots? I don't think so. He's just running away from me. Will a totem of undying save me from /kill? Alright, so let's just /kill. And no, the totem of undying did not save me, unfortunately. Apparently throwing an instant health potion upwards will give you more health than throwing it down. So let's just throw a potion down like this, and as you can see, it gave me 2 hearts. So now let's throw one up in the air like this, and it still gave me 2 hearts. This one is false. Apparently a witch can't die to instant damage potions. So let's just rain instant damage potions down. And yeah, the witch is just drinking instant health and it's countering it. This one's true. Can you make suspicious stew with a wither rose? So let's just put all these things in the crafting table. And yeah, you can make suspicious stew with a wither rose. This one is true. Will lightning turn a mushroom cow into a brown cow? So let's just spawn a lightning bolt. And yeah, it turns it into a brown cow, but not the brown cow you would expect. It's actually a brown mushroom cow. Will a baby piglin ride a baby hoglin? So let's get our baby hoglin right here, and we'll spawn a ton of baby piglins. And now let's see if one of these guys rides the hoglin. Okay, nothing is happening so far. Oh, and one of them actually is riding on the hoglin. This is true. And wait, multiple of them are stacking on top. You can make an entire piglin stack with this. This is so cool. Does soul fire do double the damage of regular fire? So let's just stand on the fire, and as you can see, it did half a heart to me. But now let's try standing on soul fire. Yeah, the soul fire does 1 heart, and the regular fire only does half a heart. This one is actually true. I had no idea. Apparently a flame bow can ignite a campfire. And yeah, that ignited the campfire. This one is true. Can you walk on powdered snow with frostwalker boots? Okay, so this one would make a lot more sense than magma, so let's see if it's true. And no, it doesn't look like it's true. I've sunken in the snow. Apparently new emerald armor was added in 1.20. So obviously there was no new emerald armor added in 1.20, but you can put this armor trim on a full set of diamond armor, and as you can see, it kinda looks like emerald armor, even though you can still see the diamond a little bit. So I'll say this one is partly true, I guess. Apparently if you breed 2 different colors of sheep, it'll combine their colors. So let's just breed these sheep, and it should make a purple sheep. And yeah, this is true. Now we have a baby purple sheep. This is kinda cool. Apparently you can farm crops in the nether. Okay, I'm not really sure why this would work, but let's just give it a try. Okay, and it kinda looks like these are hydrated somehow. Okay, I somehow placed 1 seed, but I'm not able to place seeds in these ones. That's so weird. So I guess this is partially true, I guess. I'm not really sure if this will actually grow. Apparently hostile mobs can't cross over rails. So let's just place some rails on the ground like this, and we'll spawn a bunch of zombies. And yeah, it looks like they can't get me past these rails. This one is somehow true. Apparently items can sink through mud into hoppers. So let's just throw some diamonds through here. And yeah, it looks like they sunk through the mud. Apparently if you ride in a minecart and then sleep in a bed, it'll make you sleep on the floor. Okay, it doesn't look like it worked. I'm pretty sure I'm still in the bed. This one is false. Apparently there will always be a lush cave underneath an azalea tree. So let's just try to find an azalea tree like this. Okay, and we finally found an azalea tree, so now we just have to mine underneath it. So let's just start mining down. And yeah, we've landed in a lush cave. This one is true. Apparently the warden can't kill you on carpet. So let's just stand on a carpet like this, and it's already looking kind of bad. I have the darkness effect. Okay, the warden is literally standing right beside me. There's no way he doesn't kill me, right? Okay, yeah, he's getting angry. Okay, yeah, that one's false. I don't know who thought of that. There's no way that was gonna work. Apparently you can make infinite water with only 1 water bucket. So if we place a block like this, and then mine out 4 like usual, and then we place our water right here, apparently if we put kelp on these blocks, it'll make an infinite water source. So let's just put kelp all over here, and it did change the water. So let's just break this, and yeah, now we have infinite water from only 1 water bucket. That's so cool. Will a totem of undying work in the void? So let's just fall into the void. And no, the Totem of Undying does not work in the void, unfortunately. Apparently, iron golems don't take fall damage. So let's just push this guy off, and let's see if he takes fall damage. No, he actually didn't take fall damage. This one is true. I guess that's what happens when you're made of iron. You're just invincible. Can you mine lapis ore with a stone pickaxe? So we have regular lapis, and let's just break it with a stone pick. And yeah, it actually dropped the lapis. This is true. But now, can you break deep slate lapis with a stone pick as well? Yeah, this one also works. I guess you only need a stone pick to collect lapis. Is a diamond and a turtle egg the same texture? So we have our diamond right here, and we also have our turtle egg. And yeah, I can actually kind of see the similarities. Like, they have the exact same shape, and the shading is kind of the same as well. I don't know, let me know if you think these are the same texture or not in the comments. I'm pretty sure that they are. Apparently, if you dig straight down at your world spawn, there will always be diamonds. So let's just start digging straight down from where we spawn, and there was no sign of diamonds anywhere. This one is unfortunately false. Can you survive a fall by landing on a watermelon? So the logic behind this one is because it has water in the name. And no, it's not true. It was pretty obvious it isn't true, to be fair. Apparently you can run over a 1-block gap. So let's just get a running start from back here. And no, I fell in the lava. Alright, let's just try it a few more times. And wait, I actually just ran right over the lava. Somehow this one is true, but it only happens sometimes. So I would still be careful if there's 1 block of lava like this. Apparently you can survive 4 anvils dropped on your head. So we have 4 anvils up here, as you can see. And let's just break the wood block that's holding all these anvils up. And yeah, I somehow survived 4 anvils getting dropped on my head. Although I'm stuck in the anvils now, so I'm not really sure if this is a good idea anyway. Apparently if you throw diamond armor into lava, it will will turn into netherite. Alright, so let's just throw a full set in here. And yeah, this one is definitely not true. If you fall for this, you deserve it, to be honest. Apparently, netherite armor can survive lava, though. So let's just throw our netherite armor in. The netherite armor actually swam back up. This one is true. Can you combine two different types of stairs by putting them in the border? So let's just place our two stairs like this, and we'll put a piston behind them, and apparently this will combine both of the stairs. Yeah, this one is true, and this is so weird. Like, look at the two stairs mixing right here. I'm pretty sure this is not supposed to happen. Apparently, turning a shulker invisible will make him lose his shell. Yeah, this one is true, and this looks so weird. There's literally just this little head right here. Apparently, you can spawn a giant slime. So, apparently using this command, I will spawn a giant slime. So let's just try it. Oh my god, this slime is massive. Yeah, this one is definitely true. I would not want to run into this slime in my world. This guy is huge. And along with a giant slime, apparently you can spawn a giant magma cube as well. And yeah, it literally works the same as the slime, and I actually have no idea where he just went. He just flew away. Like, look when he jumps, he just completely disappears. This one is definitely true. Do zombie pigmen crush turtle eggs? So we have our zombie pigmen here, and yeah, they're literally just crushing the turtle eggs. That's kind of mean. I don't know why they would do that. Will a skeleton turn to a stray if you trap it in powdered snow? Okay, he's shaking, and yeah, he turned into a stray. This one is true. Are you able to turn the wither invisible? Alright, let's splash him with invis, and no, we can still see the wither. And honestly, that's kind of good. The wither would be absolutely terrifying if you could make him invisible. If you smelt a wet sponge and you put a bucket underneath, apparently it'll fill the bucket with water. Yeah, this one is actually true. I guess if you need water and you only have a wet sponge, this is a good way to do it. Can you put a shulker box into a shulker box? Nope, you cannot. I'm clicking as you can see, and nothing is happening. This one is false. Apparently you can mine a dragon egg if you put it underwater. Okay, so as you know, you can't normally mine a dragon egg, so let's see if this works. Okay, no, the dragon egg just teleports away. This one isn't true. If you throw a trident with loyalty on it, and then you fill your inventory, apparently it'll chase you. So let's just throw our trident really far away like this, and now let's fill our entire inventory up quickly, and apparently the trident will just chase us, and yeah, the trident is just flying around me. This is so weird. Look at what it does when I stand still. This is so funny. Apparently you can't blow up a nether star. So let's just light this TNT, and yeah, this one is true. The nether star just flew away, but it didn't explode. Will lightning turn a red mushroom into a brown mushroom, similar to how it does that with the cows? Alright, let's just summon a lightning bolt, and no, this one isn't true. The mushroom is still red. Will looting work if the sword is in your offhand? So let's just put this sword right here, and we'll hold out another sword, and let's kill the mushroom cows with our diamond sword instead. Alright, that one just dropped 2 beef and 1 leather. What about this guy? Alright, 1 beef and 1 leather. I don't think it's true. Looting would give way more. Apparently, if you type excited ZE into the crafting table, it changes your language. And yeah, wait, everything is completely different. I'm pretty sure it changed my game to pirate language. What is this? Can a blaze light a campfire? So let's just get this blaze to shoot at us. Okay, yeah, he hit the campfire and it actually lit it up. This one is true. Apparently, you can infinitely tower with powdered snow buckets. So if we place one like this, and then we stand on the top, and then we place another, we can grab the first bucket from the bottom, and then build up like this, and then we can just keep doing this. And as you can see, this is true. You're able to infinitely tower with powdered snow. This is kind of cool. Apparently, there's a game rule that will completely disable the warden from spawning. And yeah, this is true. There's a game rule called do warden spawning, and if you set it to false, the warden will no longer be able to spawn in your world. Can a bee survive a hit from the warden? Alright, I honestly have no idea how this one would be true. I mean, how is a bee gonna survive an entire warden? Okay, it looks like the warden's found him. Oh, and he's getting angry. And no, the bee did not survive a hit from the warden. This one is false. Will a camel protect you from taking damage from a ravager? So let's saddle up our camel, and we'll just go in survival like this. And no, this one is not true. I'm still being hit by the ravager. If you jump on a cactus, you can jump 2 blocks high. Alright, so we've placed our cactus in our 2-block jump, and I'm assuming I just have to do this, and hopefully I'll be able to jump 2 blocks. Alright, I don't really know about this one, but I'm pretty sure that this works with fire, so let's just keep trying it. Come on, surely it'll let me jump 2 blocks. I don't know, maybe I'm just bad, but I'm gonna have to say this one is false. It's not working for me. Apparently, Skulk can't spread in water. So we have our Skulk catalysts right here, and let's kill this skeleton, and as you can see, the Skulk spreads, but apparently if there's water here, it won't spread, so we have to try this. Alright, let's just place water all over the Skulk, and we'll put down another skeleton, and this one's not true. I'm pretty sure I saw it spread. Yeah, this one isn't true. It's spreading underwater. Apparently, if you give an allay an item, it can't explode. So we have our allay right here, and we'll give him a diamond, and now let's place a ton of TNT all over the place, and we'll just put some diamonds here so we can go get them, and we'll light the TNT. The TNT didn't really hit him, but I didn't see him take damage. He just kind of got blown away, so I'm gonna say this one is true. Apparently, if you ender pearl and then go in the end, it'll send you back to the overworld. Okay, and we'll just throw an ender pearl all the way over here, and now let's go in the end, and it should TP us any second. Okay, yeah, this one is false. It would have TP'd us by now. Apparently, all cats in a witch hut spawn as black cats. So, as you can see, there's already a black cat right here, and we'll spawn our cats in the witch hut, and yeah, they're all black cats. That's so crazy. And as you can see, if I go over here, they're just normal cats. So it's literally just the witch hut. Wow, that's so weird. Apparently, in the new update, you can summon the white enderman with a command. So I'm typing the summon command, and I don't see anything coming up for white enderman. This one is false. Apparently, ancient debris resembles an old warped log. So we have a warped log here, and as you can see, this is what it looks like, and here's an ancient debris beside it. Apparently, this is supposed to be an old warped log. It doesn't really look like it on the sides, but the top looks pretty similar, so I don't really know if this one is true. You guys let me know if you think this resembles a warped log or not. I honestly don't know. Apparently, there's a secret room under the village well. I'm pretty sure these village wells have been in Minecraft forever, so I'm pretty sure I would know about this if there was a secret room. And let's just mine the blocks out under here. I mean, there's a cave down here, but I'm pretty sure that's not a secret room. This one is false. Apparently, there's a secret new deep dark villager. So let's just spawn a villager. And no, this is just a normal villager. There's no new deep dark villager in this game. I'm sorry. Apparently, there's a secret room hidden under the igloo. So if we break this carpet here, there's supposed to be a hidden room somewhere under here. Wait, there's actually a trap door. And there's a ladder down to the bottom. What's down here? And yeah, there's actually a secret room down here. And it looks like there's a thing to cure a zombie villager down here. And you get this chest with a golden apple, so all you need is a weakness potion. Oh wait, you can actually get a weakness potion here too, so you can literally just cure this villager right here. That's so cool. Apparently, sniffers can sniff for seeds in the end. So we have our sniffer right here, and let's see if he can find some seeds. Alright, he's sniffing the air. This might be true. Okay, he's been sniffing for a long time, and he hasn't found anything yet. I don't think this one is true. Apparently, there's a new bat in the new update. So let's just spawn a bat right here, and yeah, this is actually a new bat. This looks so cool. Apparently, you can now put items in a decorated pot. So we have our decorated pot right here, and let's just right-click it with these diamonds, and it's doing something. Okay, now let's right-click it to see if they're in the pot. Okay, I don't know, the pot's just kind of wiggling. Maybe we have to break the pot. And yeah, the diamonds came out of the pot. This one is true. You can put items in pots now. Can you break pots with arrows? Alright, let's just shoot the pot. And yeah, this one is true, but it only drops bricks. It doesn't drop the pot. And just to be clear, you can break pots with every projectile, not just arrows. Can you give a snow golem fire resistance? Alright, so we have our snow golem right here, and let's just splash him. And yeah, he has particles, but does this actually work? And yeah, the snowman is just swimming in lava and not dying. This is the weirdest thing I've seen. Does an evoker turn blue sheep red? Alright, so we have our blue sheep here. I don't really know why this one would work, but let's just spawn our evoker, and he's doing something. And the sheep actually turned red. What? Why doesn't this guy like blue sheep? Can you survive a 50 block fall with feather falling 4 boots? So let's just put feather falling on the boots, and now let's just fall down this 50 block platform. And no, I died. Apparently, putting a pumpkin on your head stops endermen from attacking you completely. So we have our enderman right here, and let's just put a pumpkin on our head, and now let's fight the enderman. Okay, yeah, he's hitting me. This one is definitely not true. The enderman still attacks you when you have a pumpkin on your head. It's only good for looking at them. Apparently, you need silk touch to mine a chiseled bookshelf. Okay, so we have a silk touch axe and a regular axe. Wait, it actually doesn't mine with the regular axe, and it mines with silk touch. Why is that a thing? I'm assuming that's a glitch, because that's really weird. Can a sniffer egg float? Yeah, it can float. Is there something the sniffers are hiding from us? Wait, will the egg hatch in the air? Okay, yeah, it does. I'm sorry, Snifflet. I didn't know it would work. Can the new mobs go upside down? Okay, so we have a dinner bone name tag, and yeah, it works for a sniffer, and it also works for a camel. This looks so weird. Can you breed bees with the new pink petals? Yeah, you can, but the only reason this works is because they're a flower. Can you put a baby sniffer in a boat? So we already tried with a big sniffer and it didn't work, but yeah, it works on a baby sniffer. This is true. Wait, maybe you can grow the sniffer in the boat. No, never mind. It just gets teleported out. Another mob that can't fit in a boat is a camel. But yeah, it also fits in a boat as a baby, although the same thing happens when you grow it, unfortunately. Can you bounce off of a slime? So obviously you can bounce off a slime block like this, but does it work on a slime? No, it doesn't work, but I don't understand why. They are both made from slime balls. Does string make lava quiet? So I turned subtitles on, and right now you can see the lava sound is being made. So let's put some string on the top, and yeah, for some reason the lava sound is gone. That's so weird. Can you shoot through a bamboo trapdoor? No, you can't. The giant hole isn't real. chill, I guess. What about a cherry trapdoor? Yeah, if the bamboo one didn't work, there's no way that one was working. Striking a villager with lightning makes it a witch. Yeah, this one is true, and it really makes me wonder what striking a person with lightning does. Do parrots dance when you play music? Yeah, wait, they're going crazy. Unfortunately, this doesn't work when they're on your shoulder, though. Does Frostwalker work on armor stands? So let's just make this device real quick. And yeah, it turns all the water to ice. That's so cool. Oh, and I also just noticed that ice has a melting animation. I've never seen that before. Can you light 2 end portals at the same time? No, only one of the portals lights, but I don't really know when you would need this anyway. Can TNT boost an ender pearl? Okay, I don't think that's how you're supposed to do it. Yeah, I don't know if it made it go any further, but it definitely got boosted. Do frogs eat silverfish? No, it doesn't look like they eat these guys. This one is false. Can you hoe dirt on top of a chest to open it? So we have dirt, and we have a chest. And as you can see, it can't be opened. And yeah, hoeing the dirt makes it open. This one is true. Can piglins use a totem of undying? Here you go, man. Take the shiny object. I think it has to be a baby, because the big ones are already holding something. And yeah, it actually works. The baby survives with a totem. You can light a campfire by setting yourself on fire. Alright, as you already know, don't try this at home. No, it doesn't work. I set myself on fire for nothing. Can you jump 9 blocks with these 3 potions? So we have speed, slow falling, and jump boost. And yeah, it works. I jumped 9 blocks. Apparently mobs can't climb azalea leaves, so I am able to climb these leaves just fine. But yeah, the stupid zombies can't get in. This one is true. Apparently 2 wardens can't kill a witch. So let's put a witch in a cage like this. And yeah, the wardens attack the witch, but it never dies because of its potions. It's true. Can you put powdered snow inside leaves? So everyone knows you can waterlog leaves like this, but what about powdered snow logging? No, you can't. It's false. Can a zombie piglin spawn riding a strider? So let's just spawn a bunch of striders. Yeah, it's true, and he even has a fishing rod thing to control them as well. Can you trap animals with trapdoors? So if we put a bunch of trapdoors like this, and then spawn some sheep inside, they shouldn't be able to escape. Yeah, they can't follow me. I guess we know why they're called trapdoors now. Does reinforced deep slate protect you from the warden? Okay, so I already have darkness. This isn't looking good. Okay, yeah, he hit me. This one is not true. You can run underwater with mud. This one sounds stupid, but yeah, it's true. Allays drop items on note blocks. Okay, so if we give him a diamond and then throw some diamonds over here, he should drop them on this note block. Yeah, it actually works. That's so cool. Can a dog survive a hit from the warden? So in order for this to work, I have to tame him. And yeah, it's true. The dog survives a hit. Can you make an iron golem underwater? No, you can't. What about a snow golem? Okay, yeah, the snow golem works, but I don't think he's making it out of the water. What about a wither? Yeah, this one is definitely not possible. I can't even place the heads. Do ocelots attack chickens? This one is kind of weird, but it's true. Oh, and they even sneak up on the chickens when they are really far away. That's kind of cool. Apparently a dog's tail shows how much health it has. So as you can see, his tail is all the way up. Now let's do some animal cruelty. And yeah, his tail is all the way back down. And you can even see that I healed him and his tail went back up. This is true. Can fish live in mangrove roots? Okay, that one didn't work. But yeah, it works when I click on the bottom. He's inside of the mangrove roots. Do pumpkin stems always face west? So if I place one pumpkin down, it's kind of facing west. It's more northwest though. And yeah, each one of the stems faces the same direction. This one is true. What about sunflowers? Do sunflowers always face the sun when you place them? So it looks like they're facing the sun right now, but let's try moving the sun. And no, they still face the same way. This one is false. Can you use eggs to break leads? Yes, you can, and this works with pretty much any projectile except for fishing rods. For some reason, they just do this. Apparently, bats don't drop XP. Alright, let's try to kill this guy with a bow. Wow, first try. Yeah, he didn't drop XP. This one is true. Can you kill blazes with water bottles? So I've heard of killing blazes with snowballs, but never water bottles. Yeah, it works, but it's gonna take a lot of water bottles to kill one of these guys, so a sword or an axe is a way better method. Can you use Frostwalker on a boat? Okay, so I have Frostwalker boots on, and no, this one isn't true. But why would you need a boat with Frostwalker anyway? Do llamas attack wolves? Okay, the wolf is literally sprinting away. And yeah, it's true. I didn't know llamas had any enemies. Except me, of course. Can you put a boat on top of your head? So let's just break this block. And yeah, I have a boat on top of my head now. Fashion has really been taken to new levels. Can you put armor on a villager? Yeah, he's taking way less damage now. This one is true. Does stained glass change the color of a warden's sonic boom? Okay, let's just provoke the warden again. No, this one isn't true. It's still blue. Do anvils bounce off slime blocks? Alright, let's drop the anvil. No, they do not, unfortunately. Can a group of wardens blast away the ender dragon? Alright, let's spawn a ton of wardens. Yeah, it's it's true, they sent him flying. Apparently nether fences can't connect to other fences. So if you have two types of wood fences, they'll connect like this. But when you place nether fences, it doesn't work. That's so strange. Apparently you can't sleep while poisoned. Also, don't try this at home. No poisoning yourself. Yeah, this one is true. It just kicks me out of the bed. Can you shear a goat for a goat horn? I really doubt this works. It makes no sense. Yeah, you can't do this. You just gotta wait for them to ram into you. Can you escape phantoms by going underwater? Nope, it looks like these guys can swim as well, if they weren't already annoying enough. I guess the only option to get rid of them is by sleeping. Do foxes get stuck in snow when chasing chickens? First it's the ocelots killing chickens, and now it's foxes. Everybody hates these guys. But yeah, they get stuck in the snow for a second when chasing them. That's kinda funny. Apparently ghasts can't swim. Okay, it's definitely not true. He is still chasing me underwater. Can you look at Enderman through glass? So this is me looking at an Enderman without glass. Not good. And this is me looking at one with glass. Yeah, he doesn't attack me anymore. It's true. Does naming a Vindicator Johnny make him attack all mobs? This one is kinda strange. I don't know what Johnny did. But yeah, it's true. For some reason he goes on a rampage. Can you stack two types of slabs? So apparently if I put two slabs like this against the world border and then push them together, it will make a cursed slab. Yeah, it does. That's so weird. Do cats take no fall damage? I'm pretty sure this is a thing in real life, so it's probably true. Yeah, it's true. He just eats that fall. Will tadpoles follow you if you hold a slime ball? So we know that this works with frogs, and yeah, it also works with tadpoles. This one is true. Can a warden survive a max height fall? Yeah, it's true. He survived. I guess cats and wardens are the same thing. Do potions of healing hurt undead mobs? Yeah, it's true, and the opposite works as well. You can heal undead mobs with harming potions. Can you breathe underwater with torches? So everybody knows you can breathe underwater with doors like this, but what about torches? Okay, it kinda works, but the torches break, so it's not technically true. Can you bridge to the outer end islands? So obviously I could sit here and bridge like this, but that's boring. I'm just gonna fly instead. Yeah, it's true. You don't even need to kill the ender dragon to get here. Although it's probably faster. That was like 1,000 blocks. Apparently camels can make a 12-block jump. Yeah, it's true. They need this guy in the NBA. But now let's see if a camel can protect you from the Ender Dragon. This is kind of a weird situation. How would a camel even get to the end? But yeah, it actually works, but it's not looking good for my camel. Are beehives more common in Cherry Grove biomes? Okay, there's literally 3 of them right here. It's definitely true. Does weakness stop you from being able to attack mobs? Okay, so I can still attack mobs when I have weakness, but when I punch the mobs, it doesn't work. So this one is kind of true. Apparently you can't attack a camel's head. This one seems kind of weird. I'm sorry, camel, if this doesn't work. Oh, it's actually true. How is this possible? Can you put armor trims on an elytra? No, you cannot. What about armor trims on a turtle shell? You actually can, and this thing looks really cool. I'm definitely gonna start wearing turtle helmets. Can you breed camels with cactuses? Alright, let's just feed them both some sharp objects. And yeah, somehow this one actually works. Do all camels run the same speed? So everyone knows that each horse moves at a different speed, but does this also work for camels? Okay, it's been 10 seconds and he made it here. Now it's time to try a different camel. Okay, it's the exact same speed. This one isn't true. Using the seed sniffer spawns you near a ruin with a sniffer egg in it. Okay, we got an ocean, but it's not a warm ocean. This one is false. Do hanging signs fit less text than a regular sign? So there's 60 characters on a regular sign, and there's only 40 characters on a hanging sign. This one is true. Is there a secret room in a desert well? No, it doesn't look like it. What about in a jungle temple? I mean, yeah, there's a hidden room, but it wasn't added in 1.20, so I'm gonna say this is false. Can you shoot projectiles through a nether portal? Okay, it doesn't seem to have gone through, but let's check. There's no way to really tell. We need a wall. And yeah, there's actually arrows on the other side. This one is true. Do piglins wear mob heads? There's no way this one is actually true. This looks so funny. Wait, what if you use a piglin head on a piglin? Okay, this one is really cursed. He has double ears. Powdered snow stops you from burning in the nether. Don't try this at home, guys. And yeah, it works, but you don't get to keep the snow. It's a one-time use. Wait, if it stops burning in the nether, you can probably clutch with it as well. Yeah, this one is true, and it also doesn't melt. Can you light a nether portal with a bed? This one is true, but it's just the explosion doing it, not the bed. Does a cursive binding book get stuck in a bookshelf? No, it doesn't. I can still take it out. Do jukeboxes emit particles when you play music? Yeah, this one is true. I've never seen this before. Can you die from dehydration in Minecraft? Obviously, there's no thirst meter in Minecraft, but apparently with this command, it will say you died of dehydration. Yeah, it's true. I guess I gotta start drinking some liquids. Can you make a giant cherry tree. Okay, it doesn't grow into one giant tree. And yeah, that doesn't really look that much bigger than normal either. Are emeralds more common in cherry biomes? I don't really know how to test this one, but I'm seeing some emeralds, so at least they do spawn in a cherry biome. I have no idea if they're more common here though. Does a camel fit in a boat? No, it does not. This guy is way too big. What about a sniffer? A sniffer also doesn't fit in a boat. This is sad. He'll never be able to become a pirate. Apparently there's a new way to get command blocks. So if you click on options and go to controls, you can enable operator items tab. And yeah, now when you're in creative, there's this new tab with all sorts of blocks you had to use /give for before. Does a sniffer egg survive being hit by an anvil? So if you do this to turtle eggs, this is what happens. So I wonder if the same thing happens with sniffer eggs. Yeah, the sniffer egg somehow survives, that's insane, but the anvil doesn't drop this time. What about TNT? Okay, it's not that strong, RIP Snifflets. Does waterlogging a skulk shrieker stop it from making noise? Yeah, it's not making noise. I wonder if this also stops the warden from spawning. No, it does not. Does killing an elder guardian drop an armor trim? Okay, nothing so far. And yeah, tied armor trim. These guys can also drop fish, which is kind of weird. I don't think they are fish. Is there a hidden gold block in the new trail ruin structure? Okay, so I definitely meant to do what just happened, and I don't really see any gold blocks here. I'm gonna say it's false. Do diamonds spawn under the middle of trail ruins? Okay, so this looks like the center. Let's dig down. There's no diamonds, it's false. Everyone knows you can name a sheep Jeb and it turns rainbow, but does this work for a sniffer? No, it doesn't. What about naming a camel? No, this one also doesn't work. I guess we're stuck with regular mobs. Can piglins open doors? Wait, they actually can. That's so cool. Can you break bamboo blocks faster with a sword? Okay, so this is with a fist, and this is with a sword. I don't think it's any different. Apparently XP bottles can make a block of redstone or glow. Yeah, it's actually glowing, and that's a lot of particles. You can also just do this by right-clicking it though. The XP bottles don't really matter. Apparently there is blue magma in Minecraft 1.20. Oh my god, there actually is. No way. It's definitely not fake. Do torch flowers emit light just like torches? Oh wait, I probably need to turn off full bright. No, it's still really dark in here. The torch doesn't mean anything. Can you use a brush on a dragon egg? So when you right click a dragon egg, normally it teleports away. But what if you use a brush? No, it still teleports away. I guess you can't clean your dragon eggs. Can you put armor trims on horse armor? No, unfortunately you can't give your horse some drip. If you put a flower into a crafting space, it turns into a single color of dye, but apparently you can craft a pitcher plant into 2 dyes. Yeah, this is true. I guess the flower is just so big it gives you 2 dyes instead. Is rain invisible through black glass? So this is what rain looks like through regular glass. You can still see it. And this is what it looks like with black glass. This one is true. I wonder if it also works on snow. Yeah, it does. Can you dye the highlighted part on the new decorated pot? No, it's still yellow. This one isn't true. Is there a new bamboo village in the jungle biome? Okay, so when I use /locate, I'm not really seeing anything that would be a bamboo village. And I'm also not seeing anything in this jungle. This one is probably false. Can you smelt netherite armor and tools into netherite scraps? So everyone knows you can do this with gold and iron armor and tools, but it doesn't seem to be working with netherite armor or tools, so it's false. I don't see why you would ever need to do this anyways, so that's probably why. Can you dry a wet sponge using a campfire? Okay, so you can't place the sponge on the campfire, so this is already not looking good. Yeah, the steak is cooked and the sponge is still wet. I don't think it's true. Is there a new cherry dimension in 1.20? Yeah, I think it's kind of obvious that this one isn't true. Wait, never mind guys, 100% real cherry dimension. Apparently sniffers can't drown because their eggs come from the water. Okay, he's sniffing the water. Maybe this one is true. Never mind, this is definitely not true. I'm also not gonna help him out of the water. I'm a hater. You can plant mangrove trees underwater. So if you place a regular sapling here, it just breaks. But yeah, the mangrove propagule can be placed underwater. Are phantoms afraid of cats? So let's place a bunch of phantoms down, and now we'll get some cats. And yeah, the phantoms don't seem to be attacking me. Also, this noise is terrifying. What is that? Can you clutch on a sniffer? So these guys look kind of soft, so hopefully this works. Okay, it definitely doesn't work. This is false. Can you put horse armor on a camel? No, you can't. And even if you could, you wouldn't be able to use the saddle, so it would suck anyway. Are villagers able to sleep in the nether? Yeah, this one is true. These guys somehow don't make the bed explode. Whoops, I didn't think that would happen. Apparently, the warden isn't actually blind. So in spectator mode, you can see what any mob sees by left-clicking on it, and that includes the warden, who is definitely able to see from what I'm seeing. Apparently, you can't name a mob name tag. Yeah, so you can't even name a name tag, but you can do do it like this, so I guess it's false? Oh wait, I actually just found a way to do it technically. Does a potion of luck change the loot inside a chest? So this is the loot in the chest right now, and now I have the luck effect. And it's the same loot in the chest. This is false. You can make a minecart that infinitely moves. So apparently if you stack a bunch of minecarts in each other, they will never stop moving. Yeah, this one is true, and it's also really weird. Why does this work? Apparently a camel can survive a 50-block fall. Sorry man, I gotta do this. It's actually true, it somehow lived, but now can I survive the fall while riding a camel? Okay, this one isn't true. The camel did not absorb my fall. Can a camel prevent you from being hit by mobs? This one is true. They're not hitting me. But I'm curious if this also works on the warden. Okay, it actually doesn't look like he can hit me. Wow, the warden's getting a little close. Naming your seed Cherry Blossom spawns you in a Cherry Blossom biome. It's true, but it's the smallest Cherry Blossom biome I've ever seen. Are all sheep pink in a Cherry Blossom biome? This one isn't true, but let's just pretend it is. It looks a lot better this way. Can you undye leather armor using a cauldron? Wow, this one is actually true. And you can also dye wool that is already dyed. This one is true as well, and you can do it with every colorable item, just to be clear. Apparently you can swap your elytra out without opening your inventory. This one is true, but you better carry a water bucket with you just in case. Does a bamboo raft move faster than a regular boat? So this is me riding both of the boats. It doesn't look like the bamboo one is any faster. This is false. Can you clutch on a camel? You can clutch on a horse, so this should be possible. As long as I don't mess this up, of course. And yes, you can do it. This makes up for him killing me earlier. You can dye a camel's saddle. Nope, this one isn't true, but it would be cool if it was. Apparently, mobs can't jump over hanging signs. So I've placed a fence of hanging signs around me, and now let's see if all these zombies can get to me. Okay, they can. This one is definitely not true. If you place a hanging sign like this, apparently mobs can't follow you through it. And it's true. Who knew zombies were this stupid? The nether portal animation is fixed in 1.20. So this is what the animation used to look like, and now it's supposed to stop the animation from playing again when you go through. Yes, this one is true. Can a piglin head prevent you from being attacked by piglins? No, it can't. We've already seen this. They don't accept me. What about if you wear armor with a gold trim on it? Nope, it appears I still have a 5-star wanted level. What about if you wear gold armor with a trim on it? Okay, this one was obviously gonna work. They gotta respect a man with some drip. A piglin head flops its ears when it's powered by redstone. This one is true, and also kinda weird. Does this mean mobs are powered by redstone? Apparently a dragon head can now open its mouth. This one is also true. I honestly have no idea if this one is new or not though. I don't usually wear a dragon's head. There is a new Vex in Minecraft 1.20. So this is what an old Vex used to look like. Kinda scary if you ask me. And this is the new Vex. This one is true. It kinda looks like an evil Allay. Speaking of evil Allays, does the new Vex attack Allays? Okay, it doesn't really look like they attack each other. They're just chilling. Does a sniffer egg hatch faster on moss? So here's my egg on moss, and here's the regular egg. Now we just wait. And yeah, this one is true. The egg on moss hatched way faster. You can make a sniffer carpet. This is actually just from my build hacks video. It's not really a myth. No sniffers were harmed in the making of... No, actually they were. I'm not gonna lie. Can you ride a sniffer? So my right click says you can't, but this command says I can. But since you can't do it without cheats, I'm going to say it's false. You can heal camels with cactuses. I can't imagine this one is true because of what I'm seeing right now. Okay, never mind. He somehow eats that. That's true. You are able to sprint on camels. This one is true, but you might not notice it if you use toggle sprint since it just sprints by default. Can sniffers dig for seeds in the nether? He's sniffing the air. I wonder what he's got a hold of. Okay, just ignore that. I don't know how that got here. Yeah, this one is false. He isn't digging for anything. Apparently there's a new built-in resource pack. Yes, there is high contrast mode, but all it really does is edit the UI and nothing else changes. Jukeboxes can emit a redstone signal. Let's just pick out some quality music here. Yep, this one is true, and I may have also summoned Herobrine. If you punch a decorated pot, it won't break. Yes, this one is true. It just drops the pot instead of the shards. And speaking of shards, can you copy them like an armor template? No, this one unfortunately isn't true. You're gonna have to find these manually. Are you able to craft a plain pot using just bricks? Okay, it's a good thing I'm bricked up for this myth. Yes, this one is true. I now have a lot of plain pots. Apparently you can get the ward armor trim for killing the warden. Okay, this is taking way too long. I'm just using the command. No, he still drops the skulk thing, whatever it is. The new damage looks like bedrock. Yeah, this is true, unfortunately. I don't really like how this looks. Also, you can apparently change the amount of shake when you get hit. Okay, this one is also true, and this looks even weirder, honestly. It kind of looks like I'm in Spectator. Can you get apples from a cherry wood tree? Okay, so far this one isn't looking good. Yeah, I broke all the leaves on the tree and not a single apple. This one is false. Apparently, you can now edit signs. Okay, yeah, I already knew this one was true, and along with editing signs, you are also able to write on the back of them. And you can right-click them with a honeycomb, and it makes it so you can't edit them anymore. That one I actually didn't know. That's pretty interesting. Do chiseled bookshelves increase enchantment levels? Okay, so we've filled them all with books. Now let's see if it increases the levels. Nope, this one isn't true. Can you fill chiseled bookshelves using hoppers? Yes, you can do this, and apparently you can also put plants in pots using hoppers. Okay, I don't think it's true. There's a new Cherry Blossom Villager variant. No, there isn't, which means there probably isn't a Cherry Blossom Village either. But it would definitely be cool if they added one, because this biome is a little boring. Can you use Silk Touch to mine suspicious blocks? Okay, so we tried it on gravel and it didn't work, and it also doesn't work on sand. This is false. Apparently there is a new potion of luck in Minecraft. There actually is a potion of luck. When applied, +1 luck. I don't really know what that means, but hopefully it doesn't turn me into a leprechaun. Can you transport pets on a camel? So I don't really know how you would do this. I'm assuming my dog would just get on the camel, and it isn't. So this one is false. Are you able to swim on a camel? Okay, it's kind of working, but he's sinking slowly, and yeah, it kicked me off. I want to say this one is false, but it's also kind of true, because he can swim for a second, so I don't know. If you put a mob head above a note block, it will play a sound from that mob. Yeah, this one is true, and it works for every mob, including the skeleton. That was definitely real. Another thing you can apparently do is optimize your world. Yeah, this one is true, but I don't really know what it does. I think it's supposed to be for older worlds, because it didn't really seem to do anything. Can a sniffer survive a hit from the warden? Okay, so we have our sniffer and our warden. We just gotta wait for this guy to find him. He's kinda blind. Okay, the sniffer died in one hit. This one isn't true. But what about a camel? Can a camel survive a warden? We just gotta wait for this again. Oh, and it actually worked. A camel can survive one hit from the warden. Camels really are just built different. Does spawning a cow in a cherry blossom biome make it a mulip? No, it does not. Is there a secret room in the desert temple? Yes, there actually is in the back corner, and this is what it looks like. Are there new potions in Minecraft? So the potions aren't new, but all the colors are changed, and I'm honestly not a fan of this. Like, why is night vision green? Who did this? You no longer have to spam place paintings. Yeah, all the paintings are now selectable by their variant, so now it's a lot easier to get which one you want. This isn't really a thing in survival though, so you're still stuck spam placing them if that's the case. Is the bundle in Minecraft 1.20? There is still no bundle in the creative inventory, but you can still give it to yourself with a command. I wonder when they will finally add this thing. Apparently hanging signs don't break when you break their supporting block. Yeah, this one is true. How is this even possible? This is definitely an illegal building technique. Apparently armor stands now have arms. Okay, so the logic behind this one is that it has arms in a smithing table. But no, the armor stand doesn't have arms. Does landing on a sniffer egg break it? No, either the sniffer egg is really strong or I'm not heavy enough. It's probably the first one. Can you ride a baby camel? No, you can't, unfortunately. But can you put chests on a camel? You also can't do this, but you'd think a mob this strong would be able to do that. Apparently, frogs follow you if you hold slime balls. Okay, so I don't think this one is 1.20 related, and I also can't even tell if it's true. Yeah, it's probably true. He seems to be following me. There is a new way to change your GUI scale. Apparently, if you hold control and scroll at the same time, it changes your GUI scale. Okay, so nothing is happening right now, but what if we try it in the options menu? Now it's working. Yeah, this one is true, but you're already in the options menu, so it's not really that cool. Apparently, harming potions ignore armor. So that did 5.5 hearts. Now let's put armor on. Yeah, it did the same amount of damage. I guess armor is just useless. Apparently, you can trap and kill the warden with powdered snow. Alright, he's trapped. And it's working. He's dying. Okay, this is kind of sad. I'm gonna help him out. Apparently, you can repair an iron golem. Oh, I can't hurt this one. Sorry, bro. Wait, it actually repairs him. I almost certainly thought this one was fake. It sounds so stupid. Apparently you can sleep underwater. Let's just make it night. Wait, how does this work? Bro, I'm amphibious or something. What? You can make a 2-block jump with a bubble column. I'm going higher, but it's not 2 blocks. Oh, you have to run at it for it to work. And it's actually pretty consistent when you have the timing. Hitting a mob through fire sets the mob on fire. Nope. Pretty sure I would have known about this if it was true. You can shoot fire arrows through the bottom of a lava cauldron. Wait, it works. You just have to angle it right. This is sick. As you know, you can block a beacon by placing a block above it, but apparently the beacon's beam can go through bedrock. Here it is with stone. As you can see, it blocks it. Now we'll try bedrock. What? I guess stone is stronger than bedrock now. That's so weird. Reinforced deep slate drops with silk touch. This is gonna take a while. I better not be getting trolled. We're almost there, and it did nothing. Nice. Apparently you can put thorns on an armor stand. So I have a full set of thorns 3 armor. Let's put it on the stand. No, I'm not taking any damage. I kinda wish this one was true though, it would be cool. Prismarine blocks change colors. Alright, time to stare at a block. It actually looks like it's changing. I think this is true. Yeah, there's actually a huge difference between the two. Striders can protect you from baby zombies. Let's get on this guy, and we'll go survival. Yeah, they can't hit me. I'm invincible. No baby zombie can ever kill me again. Apparently you can light 2 portals inside of each other. Alright, we have a weird portal. Oh, that would have been so cool. Mojang, please add this in 1.20. We need double portals. Mobs can't kill you in sugarcane. Let's put some zombies and a skeleton. Now I will set my game mode. I don't think it worked. This would be cool if it was true though. You get more experience from fortune. So I have a default pickaxe and a fortune 3 pickaxe. No fortune gave me almost 10 levels. And I got less levels with fortune. This one isn't true. Spiders can climb the world border. Not too sure about this one. Oh wait, he's doing the thing. Spider climbing the world border. Where will he go? Actually, when will he stop? This is getting dangerous. Apparently spiders also infinitely climb the world border. Apparently you can ignite TNT with a fishing rod. Now we just fish through the lava. Yeah, it works. I guess there is a reason to fish in lava now. Apparently you can also pull TNT towards you with a fishing rod. Yeah, it works. I have no idea why this would be useful, but it's cool. You can put a boat in a minecart. Wait, what? Why does that work? I'm pressing W and going backwards. This is so weird. Wait, what if I put a boat in a minecart in a minecart? Oh, it doesn't work. Apparently you can dodge sonic boom. Nope. Still no. Oh, you can. It's just hard because you have to do it really fast. Undead mobs don't burn underneath cobwebs. So I trapped a zombie and a skeleton in a hole. Let's set it to day. Wait, they're actually not burning. And as you can see, these guys are burning. This one is somehow true. This doesn't even make sense. Apparently ghasts can't see you behind cobwebs. I'm trapping myself in cobwebs. I don't think it worked, guys. Oh, not the underwater bed. Apparently rain kills snow golems. Flash weather rain. Wow, I've never seen something die so fast. Yeah, this one's true. You can kill the ender dragon with snowballs. I can't tell if I'm missing or if it doesn't work. Yeah, I don't think it's working. It's weird though because they aren't even hitting the dragon. Coal blocks last longer than 9 coal in a furnace. Time for some waiting. 9 coal finished first. I guess it's actually worth it to craft coal blocks. Holding control while using pick block gives you a chest with the same items. Now we have a ton of useful loot in this chest. And we just hold control. Yeah, it actually works. Awkward splash potions stop fire damage. Don't try this at home, guys. Nope, I'm still on fire. You can't spawn a wither in a snow biome. This one is true. I have no idea why, but it does work. Apparently you can MLG into a cauldron. Okay, I gotta line myself up perfectly. Nope, that's unfortunate. Apparently if you hold crouch, you can MLG on leaves in 1.19. Alright, I'm holding crouch. Nope, it still waterlogs it. Can you burn waterlogged leaves? It won't let me set them on fire. Yeah, it doesn't look like they can burn. Apparently polar bears attack foxes. I think it's true, but he's gonna have to catch him. I don't think the polar bear is fast enough. Alright, I'm gonna cut the video before the fox gets hurt. Oh. Apparently you can give a boat a name tag. Let's name it something cool and original. Oh yeah, I have to crouch. It's not working. Maybe we have to name the boat. Guys, please just do it. No, it still won't work. It's just a boat. Apparently deep slate ores give more XP. Okay, we got 8.5 levels from regular. And we got 9 levels from deep slate. Since the amount of XP you get is random, I don't think this is a big enough difference for it to be true. You can fish in a cauldron. Whoops. Yeah, there's no way I'm fishing anything out of here. You can't fish in a cauldron, but can you put fish in a cauldron? Nope, it just goes on top. Although sometimes the fish will go in the cauldron for a second. Killing a wither skeleton with a charged creeper always drops a skull. Oh, we gotta be quick here. There's one. There's 2. There's 3. Either my luck is insane or this one is true. You can smelt nether gold into a gold ingot. Wait, it's smelting. Yeah, it works. I guess this should have been obvious, but you do only get a few nuggets from breaking it, so I wasn't sure. Apparently you can clutch with the skulk vein. Ow. No, you can't. Hostile mobs do not spawn in mushroom biomes. It's nighttime and I don't see anything spawning. Alright, there would definitely be mobs by now. This one is true. Apparently you can't milk a mushroom cow. Nope, you still can. And you can also milk them for soup. You can make a car in Minecraft. So if I put a pig in a minecart, it's supposed to be like a car. Well, I can only move backwards and I move very slowly, but I guess it's a car? Just like you can break an end portal frame, you can break bedrock with a giant mushroom. Nope, the bedrock is still there. I wonder why it works with end portal frames and not bedrock. Apparently bees can pollinate netherwort. No, it doesn't look like it. If you give a wither skeleton a bow, it will shoot fire arrows. So if I type this crazy command, I get a wither skeleton with a bow. And yeah, it's shooting fire arrows. That's terrifying. You can use gold nuggets as fuel in a furnace. No, you can't. I think you can in bedrock though. Apparently if you give a fox frostwalker boots, it will turn water to ice. We just need him to touch water. Nope, it doesn't work. I'm gonna need these back. Apparently you can't lose hunger on a boat. Okay, I'm giving myself hunger 200. It doesn't appear to be working. But if I don't have the hunger effect, it seems to be true. Apparently there's an infinite flower glitch. Yo, we're printing money. Wolves hunt down skeletons. So if I put this skeleton in a box... Oh, get out of here. So if I put a skeleton out of sight, apparently a wolf will hunt for it. I don't think it's working. Maybe it has to be my dog? Nah, he's just vibing. If you put a Jeb underscore name tag on a dog, apparently its collar becomes rainbow. So this should happen just with the collar instead. No, it didn't work. It just names your dog Jeb. Apparently, Endermen are not able to teleport out of a 2-block hole. Alright, he's in a 2-block hole. Nope, that happened instantly. The Warden's Sonic Boom ability apparently ignores armor. Here's me using no armor. Okay, it did 2.5 hearts. Here's me with full netherite now. Wait, it did 3 hearts. It did more damage. What? Okay, apparently you also can't block Sonic Boom with a shield. What? No way, as if the Warden wasn't already powerful enough. Does mud dry out in the nether? No, it does not. Well, at least not instantly. Can mud be used to put out fire damage? Time to set myself on fire. Don't try this at home. Nope, I'm still on fire. Apparently 1.19 added jungle villages. Okay, I'm using /locate, and these are the only village types available. There are no jungle villages. There aren't jungle villages, but apparently there are jungle villagers. Wait, no way, that's so sick. Apparently there are also swamp villagers. What? No way, it's like a non-mean looking witch. Why are these in the game with no villages? You can use reinforced deep slate to trap the wither. Now we spawn the wither. Will it get out? No, it seems to be stuck. Even in survival, it won't come get me. But I guess this would only be useful if you could mine reinforced deep slate, but it's still cool. If you place your own shrieker, it can't spawn a warden. So I've placed my own shrieker. And yeah, it's been 3 times, and nothing has happened. This one is true. Apparently, there's a new portal in the deep dark. Let's light this. Wait, what? Okay, obviously I'm joking. This is a texture pack. Apparently, you can heal Vexes into LAs by giving them milk. Alright, I'm giving him milk and nothing is happening. This one is fake. Can you use goat horns to call goats over to you? He's looking at me. No, it does not work. He's not coming over here. Do you need silk touch to mine a skulk sensor? Alright, nothing dropped with no silk touch. And it drops with silk touch. This one is true. Okay, I found out I'm supposed to use a hoe and not a pickaxe. I don't want to hear it. You can now place water inside of leaves. So just like a sign or a slab, I should be able to do this on leaves. Yes, it works, and it doesn't even flow out either. That's so cool. Swift Sneak makes dive mining faster. So that was me mining without Swift Sneak. And yeah, I mean I move faster, but it doesn't make me mine any faster, so I would say this one isn't true. If you spawn a frog in a jungle, it becomes a poisonous frog. Alright, here's the smallest jungle ever. Spawning a frog. Nope, it does not seem to be poisonous. Apparently, LAs can mine diamonds for you. So if I give an LA diamond ore, it's supposed to mine diamonds for me. Nope, this obviously wasn't going to work, but it can collect diamonds for you. If you listen to the new music disc in the deep dark, it spawns Herobrine. Okay, we have our jukebox and the music disc. Let's see. I don't really see anything around here. Oh my god! There's nothing. Herobrine was removed a long time ago, guys. Right? The new music disc can be used to light the portal in the deep dark. Nope, nothing's happening. And this disc is scary, I'm turning it off. You can't spawn a warden on the surface. Well, since you can't spawn a warden using your own shrieker, it's impossible for one to spawn on the surface. Frogs will eat magma cubes and drop a frog light. Oh, this one's true. Not these guys though, they're too big. Apparently you can find skeleton skulls in an ancient city. Dang, I really thought one would be here. Oh, there's one over here. It's true. Blowing up ores now gives you experience. I think I used too much TNT. Let's try just one. And it works, the XP dropped. Furnace minecarts now work like regular furnace blocks. Alright, I'm right clicking it and nothing is happening. Let's try it with food in my hand. Still nothing, this one doesn't work. Apparently tadpoles are scared of axolotls. Wow, the axolotl's going crazy. It doesn't look like the tadpole is afraid though. The warden is lava proof apparently. It's true. The warden is even more powerful than I thought. You can use water to silence skulk sensors. Yeah, it's making no noise, but there's still the pulse thingy. And as you can see, the redstone works, but it's making no sound. Apparently the moo bloom was added in 1.19. Oh guys, look, it's the moo bloom. No way, no way. Apparently mobs now spawn inside of nether portals. So I've built a portal on the nether roof, so they should have the best chance of spawning here. Okay, this one might be true, but it's going to take forever if it is. Can Alays use a totem of undying? We'll just put some lava. Nope, we'll put some lava. Wow, this guy's fast. Okay, we finally got him. And it worked. He used the totem to survive. That's crazy. You can place structures with the command in 1.19. Alright, /structure doesn't work. Okay, it's /place structure. And yeah, you can place any structure just like this. Just like this. Now you can beat the game in super flat. There are new secret paintings in 1.19. So you just do this command, and this should be a new painting. Yeah, it works. There are also 3 other new paintings you can get with this command. Apparently you sink in mud just like powdered snow. I don't appear to be sinking. It does lower you by like 0.1 of a block though. Using Riptide on a trident while riding a boat makes you go faster. Alright, let's get in a boat. Nope, I can't even use a trident in a boat. It doesn't even let me right click. The fletching table can now be used to make tipped arrows. Alright, I'm right clicking on it and nothing is happening. Let's try it in survival. Still nothing. Even with an arrow, it still doesn't work. This one isn't true. Apparently tropical fish spawn in mangrove swamps. I'm kind of lost in here. This biome is so cool. Oh wait, those are tropical fish, right? Yep, so it's true. Minecraft now apparently has directional audio. So you go to music and sounds, and yeah, there's directional audio. And as you can see, it works. Well, as you can hear, it works. Also, I'm not sure if you can hear it properly on the video, but I am confirming it works. Can you distract the warden with XP bottles? He does seem to be distracted by them, but it doesn't seem to work in survival. You can name locations with a banner. So you just name the banner, and then you right click with a map. That didn't work. Oh, so it has to be an existing map. Yeah, that's really cool actually. Apparently you can put a chest in a boat now. So if I right click this boat, nothing happens, but you can craft it. Now I have a chest on my boat, that's sick. You can find diamond armor in the ancient city. Nope. Nothing. There's iron armor. Still nothing. There it is, diamond leggings. Curse of binding, but it's still diamond. Oh, hello warden. Apparently you can spawn fireflies with a command. I'm using /summon and there are no fireflies. There's a game rule to disable the warden. There actually is a command for it. And as you can see, no warden spawns. This is really cool. Well, if you're a baby. I mean, I would probably use it though. Apparently baby pandas can sneeze out a slime ball. We've got 1 million pandas here. I'm hearing them sneeze, but no slime balls. Okay, so apparently I have to spawn lazy pandas? Yeah, I've been waiting for a while and there are still no slime balls, so I don't know. You can use a book to spawn infinite dimensions. So all I have to do is throw the book in here. Nope, we're still in the nether. Okay, so this was actually from an April Fool's snapshot. I'm stupid. There's a secret redstone room under the ancient city. There is one. Okay, I already knew this, but maybe some people didn't, so here you go. Perfect place to get random redstone stuff. Apparently vines and glow lichen can be placed on soul sand, and it looks like you can. I have no idea why you couldn't do this before 1.19. Apparently walking on wool makes the skulk sensor not hear you. Yes, so this is one of the main features of the skulk sensor, and as you can see, it is true. Apparently there are alligators in 1.19. Of course there are alligators in 1.19, that's one of the main features. Apparently mangrove trees don't have saplings. Mangrove trees do not have saplings. You have to use these weird propagale things to grow them instead. Apparently the bundle has been added to 1.19, so there is no bundle in the creative menu, but I can give it to myself, but since there is still no way to obtain it, I would say this is false. Apparently minecarts with an attached block now stay together when you break them. Oh, it's actually true. I'm pretty sure this never used to exist. That's cool. Apparently you can use cheats in survival without enabling them. So as you saw, I made a world with cheats off. Yeah, it does nothing. I don't know why this would work. Apparently there's an advancement for killing a mob near a sculk catalyst. Let's just kill this guy quickly. Yeah, it spreads as the advancement. Apparently there's also an advancement for having every frog light in your inventory. Yep, there's also an advancement for that. 3 things are guaranteed in life. Life, death, and a 2-week Minecraft phase. I hate the term 2-week Minecraft phase, but I am technically in that phase because I recently got the urge to continue this world from my last 100 days, which means it's time to upgrade my base using a limited block palette, spend a ton of time collecting every new block and item even though there aren't that many in the game, and even complete a brand new objective. I wonder what that is, because this is 100 more days, this time in Minecraft beta. Wait, why is it day 103? That's you. You just thought that. Basically, I made this video like 6 months ago, and that was technically day 100 to 103. And during that time, I made a cake, a dispenser, a note block, sandstone, found spruce and birch logs, and got every color of wool, because that was all the new blocks added in the first update. Okay, yeah, I'm forgetting one, which is the lapis block. I did manage to find some lapis, but I couldn't find enough to make an entire block. I only had 5 left over after making all the wool, mainly because lapis is super rare in this version, and also only drops 1 lapis. So that's where we are at the end of day 103, lapisless. Staring at the moon on a Friday night, no lapis. Even he is having a better time than me. I want to dig out an area to put a basement inside of this castle, but first I have to take care of the creeper problem I have in my house. Unfortunately, the exterminator wasn't added yet, so I had to take care of the problem myself. But soon enough, I was able to start digging out an area for the basement. I want to put a museum in this basement. Kinda like last time, except it's a museum of different things. What goes in the museum? Well, you just have to wait and see. Near the end of day 104, I dug out the area I needed to dig and filled most of the floor in with wood planks. I say most because on day 105 I ran out of wood. So I exited my house like the Kool-Aid Man and went to cut down some trees. It's only 5 days in and I'm already mining wood again. But don't worry, I planted all the trees back. At night I went back into the house and placed a lot more wood and broke even more blocks and killed more creepers. Unfortunately, I started this video off with the most boring thing ever, but it had to be done. So enjoy some cool effects to keep you watching. I will also add some Minecraft parkour gameplay, Subway Surfers, satisfying videos, mobile games. Look guys, the basement is done, and we still don't know what it's for. Of course, we still had to replace some old blocks that I placed, add an actual floor, and on day 107, I fixed some problems that I caused by making the basement, and I added some stairs, more stairs, fences on the outside. Fences on top of fences would be wrong though. I mean, why would they ever add that to the game? And by the end of the day, it was actually kind of complete. So now I can finally explain to you why I built a basement. But first, let's take a walk to beat up some sheep. My earliest memory of playing Minecraft was at my friend's house on an iPod Touch. Back then, you would spawn with 9 blocks in your hotbar, and you could build stuff. That was it. I didn't know it then, but playing Minecraft on the iPod was a slippery slope. After that, I became addicted to Minecraft. So I'm building an iPod in slot 1 of the museum. And this is a Minecraft history museum, but like, for me. So every 10 days, I will add something to the museum to represent my time playing Minecraft. And this is the first one. Nope, that's not right at all. The glass looks terrible. And this is the first one. Along with adding to the museum, every 10 days I'm gonna update the game as well. So this is beta 1.2. We're gonna update to 1.3, 1.4, all the way to the last update in beta. Also, beta 1.1 barely added anything, that's why I'm starting on beta 1.2. On day 109, I traveled far away from home. I'm pretty sure I was looking for lapis, if you remember the problem from earlier. I thought I found a cave with a spawner in it, but it was just some skeletons. I also ran into some squids, in the wrong place. And yeah, by the end of day 109, I still had no lapis. Day 110 is update day, and things look a little bit different. Beta 1.3 added smooth lighting. Along with that, we got redstone repeaters, cobblestone, wood, and sandstone slabs, this painting, sulfur renamed to gunpowder, lapis actually dropping more than 1, and something really funny. We also got evil. Evil was added, and you'll see why in a bit. I started the day off by climbing a gapped ladder because this is the last time you can do that. After this, ladders become normal forever. And I was pretty excited that beds got added in this update, but I was even more excited that we can finally get our lapis. You know, I remember finding lapis when I was a kid, and I thought it was diamonds. Now I see why. This was the funny thing that got added, by the way. You can use F3 to give mobs name tags, and there's a certain reason that this can be very useful. Unfortunately, I didn't get cocoa beans or a golden apple out of these chests. Those are the two things that I still need to find, that spawn in dungeons. I mined some redstone that takes forever to mine, and I only did it so that I can show you the black redstone. And after that, I finally ended the search for lapis. It would have been so much easier if it just dropped this many the first time. I ended the day off with my first time ever sleeping in this world, and on day 111, I started strip mining. Now, obviously, I would never cheat and look for mob name tags with F3. Nah, I was just looking to see how much FPS I was getting. I mined some gold, which actually ended up being useful later. Then I magically found more mobs while strip mining. I don't know how this wasn't a spawner. I spent the rest of the day strip mining even more, and then my game crashed. You would expect old versions of Minecraft to work perfectly. The problem is though that the game only saved my location and not the blocks I broke, so I was stuck in a wall with nothing I could do. So now I've died twice, once to slimes, and once to the new terrain generator. Two very awesome deaths. This time we have a problem though, because I don't know if my stuff will actually be there. So I took some random stuff that I had, and started walking to the place I died, right after a quick sleep break, so I don't have to deal with mobs. So on day 112, I started walking to where I died, and I never mentioned that I died like 3,000 blocks away from my spawn, so it's gonna take a while. Wow, that didn't take a long time at all. When I got to the death location, I actually got really lucky, because all my stuff was actually in a hole that I dug out while I was stuck in a wall. Luckily, this death wasn't as bad as it could have been. Don't ask me how I know that. They call that foreshadowing. For the rest of the day, I was now careful to avoid randomly crashing. I found a nice one vein of diamonds, then I got shot at by a couple of dudes in my cave, found more diamonds, ended world hunger except for lapis, and slept in a bed in the middle of a cave. On day 113, I mined some diamonds pretty early on, mined even more diamonds, burned a creeper alive. In-game YouTube, don't demonetize me. And then I went to the surface, to mine wood. This is really all that Minecraft Beta has to offer. But this wood is actually important, because I needed this for a project later on in the video. But right now on day 113, I did not know that, so I don't know why I was mining wood. I finished deforesting and started to make my way back home. But first I had to dig a hole in the wall, so I didn't have to walk alone at night. You never know what kind of creepers you'll find out there. On day 114, I found them, and I also actually went home this time. Can someone tell me why I just took fall damage in water? I'm still punching sheep for wool at this point, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Nothing is cool about this terrain anymore. I've walked back and forth 100 times. We made it back to the home just as it turned nighttime. That goes to show just how long it takes me to find new chunks. I finally crafted the lapis block that we should have had 10 days ago. I also made a redstone repeater, and I already made the slabs, I guess. I don't know, they're already in the chest. We have the chest now, because I ran out of spots in the museum. On day 115, I found out why I mined all that wood. I was using it to make a pattern on the floor in my museum, but I didn't realize it looks exactly the same as oak wood, so I could have just used oak. I added some accents to the floor as well, and I basically became an interior designer. This looks a lot better than just plain wood, I think. I didn't have enough wool to finish the other side though, so it was back to bullying sheep. And when it was dark out, I visited the nether for some glowstone. Why does that not work? I managed to get my glowstone, which still only drops one glowstone per block, and I just realized that this looks like a snowball for some reason. If you remember last time, there was a huge gas problem, and that certainly has not changed. The problem is, I didn't have a flint and steel though, so I couldn't let them break my portal or I wouldn't be able to get back. So that is why I dug a hole in this mountain. This could have turned out really bad. On day 116, I was back to hunting sheep. I'm pretty sure looking for wool was one of the hardest activities in this video, because even though it doesn't look like it, sheep were very rare. You know what wasn't rare though? This stupid glitch. This had to have happened to me hundreds of times during this video, and I still have no idea what was causing it. After an entire 10 minutes of hunting for sheep, I had enough wool to finish the floor of the museum. You probably don't even notice the difference from before, but I think it was worth it, and that's all that matters. On day 117, I wanted to make a pathway connecting the castle to my old house over there, but first I needed to go and find some coal. Yeah, I was out of coal. For some reason, when I think back to old times playing Minecraft, I remember I used to play MCSG with my friends all night on my terrible 20 FPS PC in my living room. I don't think I ever won a game back then, but there was one time that I remember killing a guy with full iron, and I thought I was a god. I don't think I'll ever have an achievement as great as that again, which is why I built a small version of that one big island on Breeze Island, because I always remember going there thinking there would be good loot. It never worked. Day 118, it was time to grind. I have a plan to completely transform this whole area in the middle of my two houses, and that starts with building a pathway that connects them both. So I was digging out a bunch of holes in the ground, and then I filled them with a mix of cobblestone, gravel, and regular stone. And that's basically all that happened today. That's it. By nighttime I was mining gravel though because I ran out, and then on day 119, I was back to work. I did want to finish this thing before the update day though, so I had to go fast. So I added a timer on screen to make sure we're on pace. I finished filling in the whole thing with a lot of time to spare, but I still had to get some wood to put up some light posts on the side. By the time it turned night, we were placing down some light posts, and we actually finished that part pretty fast, but there's still a problem. We're not connected to the house yet. So basically I had to make an entire boardwalk that connected to the old fishing dock I made. Now you're probably wondering if this was pace for world record. Nah, unfortunately we only got the planks down, not the logs on the side. And also, this is technically day 120. It's light out, which means it's Secret Friday. They're not called that anymore. Cookies, wolves, and pink and brown sheep were added in this update. You can also now obtain cocoa beans in dungeon chests, and locked chests are added if your world date is set to April 1st. So obviously we're gonna go look for a locked chest, because it's definitely April 1st. See, the problem with finding a locked chest is that we have to go thousands of blocks out into new chunks. Again. And I also tamed a dog because they were added in the update. Hey bro, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. In normal Minecraft, taming your dog before you travel 2,000 blocks isn't a problem. But in Minecraft Beta, where your dog is very stupid, it's not as good of an idea. Yeah, there you go. How hard was that? This dog really annoyed me, and on day 121, it wasn't getting any better. Bringing the dog into a cave proved to be an even worse challenge. Why are you fighting it? Where are you going, bro? And after witnessing the most incredibly stupid thing ever, I realized it was time to bring the dog home. My plan to bring the dog home was through the nether. How is that? What? Whoa. Now what is the difference between this portal and the other one? Anyways, I figured the plan to bring the dog through the nether was pretty smart. Until on day 122, I realized that dogs can't go through the nether. So now I was stuck bringing this dumb dog all the way back. Or I could go back through the nether, back to my home portal, and have the dog teleport to me there. So for the rest of day 122, I walked back to my house. And even though it was only a couple hundred blocks away, with all the ghasts, it felt like it took forever. Throughout this whole time, I still never found an April Fool's chest. Also, my hole in the mountain did not work this time. When going back through the portal, I expected my dog to teleport to me, but no, it could never be that easy. On day 123, I broke the game by switching the date back from April 1st. Well, I didn't really break it, all I had to do was restart my game. And then I had to go back through the nether to get to the dog. Again. Now you know why getting a dog was a stupid idea. Next time we'll just get a chinchilla or something. I got back through the portal and the dog was still there, unfortunately. So now we dig a nice staircase for the dog to follow us back up to surface. And we almost drowned the dog by digging it into a water pool. And finally the dog is back on surface. So on day 124, we walk back to the house while mining wood. The wood is for the bridge I was building at the end of day 119, if you forgot about that, because of the dog stuff. I made a boat to travel across this large ocean, and everything was fine until I traveled 1,000 blocks in the ocean and the dog didn't teleport to me. So on day 125, I had to go back the other way to find the dog, until I finally loaded the chunk it was in, so it teleported back to me. Yeah, we're just sticking to land now. I'm not going in the water with the dog ever again. Finally, after what felt like years, I could see the castle, and the dog was finally in the house. The dog days are over. Yeah, you are gonna sit here forever. Since the dog was so stupid, I gave it a name. Real ones will understand. On day 126, I had enough of venturing out to the new chunks, so I stayed here to finish the dock that we started building 7 days ago. 7 whole days of dealing with the dog. What even is Minecraft beta? I wanted to finish placing all these logs, but I ran out of wood, so it's a good time to cut down more trees. Anytime is a good time to cut down trees except night. Nighttime tree cutting is evil. Near the end of the day, I went back to placing the logs, and I finished the day by placing some torches on top. We're sleeping on the gold bed tonight. We deserve it. On day 127, I took a look at the dock for about 1 second before I went back to the nether again. I wanted to make a tunnel that connected my home portal to the portal in the new chunks, so for the whole day all I did was dig, and dig, and dig, until I made it to the portal. And for the rest of the day I explored the cave that I was originally exploring with the dog, because I wanted to find a dungeon so I could find some cocoa beans, because I hadn't found cocoa beans yet. I don't know what was up with all the creepers in my cave. Seriously, this is way too many. And I also don't know what was up with all the diamonds. This was the only vein I found. And on day 128, I thought I for sure had found a spawner. But no, it was just a bunch of random mobs. And that was the closest thing to a spawner that I found the whole time. So we're headed back home empty-handed. No cocoa beans today. But it doesn't technically matter because the old museum was for blocks, not for items. As you can see, it's a lot more peaceful traveling through a tunnel in the nether. I would say I will miss seeing 50 ghasts in the sky, but I won't. Back at the house, I put some stuff back into these chests, and then I stared out the window, waiting for it to change to day. I already told you that I used to play Minecraft on a 30 FPS PC, but that was only temporary. You see, I was moving up in the world after buying a $400 laptop. A $400 laptop nowadays probably wouldn't even run the game, but back then I was getting good FPS and I could even record. After getting FPS, I became an SG sweat and I gained 400 subs on YouTube. I mean, that's aura, bro. 400 subs, I was pretty much famous. So I dedicated this room to my old laptop. This is supposed to be my laptop, and this is a custom YouTube play button for 400 subs. I won't tell you what this is though, but if you know, you know. For the rest of the day, I added some slabs to the side of my pathway, and I tried to bone meal the ground, but I think I'm ahead of my time. So I watched the sun rise again, but this time you can see my progress. Not very much is different yet. Day 130, it's time to phase through the floor. In this update, they added birch and spruce saplings. You can wear a pumpkin backwards. They added detector rails, which I still have no idea what they are used for, and powered rails, which will be very useful for us. Weather has been added. You can finally shift-click stuff, and that's it. There's definitely not something huge that I was forgetting in this update. The reason the powered rails are useful is because I'm gonna build a railroad connecting the 2 portals. So right now I'm counting how many rails I need to see how much iron to get. I don't remember how much that was, so the number is anywhere between 1 and 1 million. I built a pillar up here so I can easily find my portal when I leave the area, and then I left the area to find a cave to start mining iron, which is why on day 131, I was trying to collect birch and spruce saplings since they just got added, something that absolutely has to do with getting iron. Okay, so maybe I forgot that I cut down trees first and then got iron, but that's what happens when you go through almost 30 hours of gameplay. You forget everything. I, just like you, feel like I'm watching this footage for the first time, assuming you weren't looking through my window while I was playing. You weren't, right? Once again, I have no idea how much iron I was getting. I know it was at least 2 stacks, so we're not quite there yet. And at the end of the day, we were still not there yet. On day 132, I mined a lot of iron, then I almost died. Mined more iron. Pretty sure I mined way more than the recommended daily intake. But it's okay though, because we got enough iron to build the roller coaster. So what do you do after you mine a lot of iron? You go to sleep, and then you wake up inside of a wall with absolutely no way to get out. And the best part of it is, since you apparently can't put your bed there, you respawn back at your house. Luckily, I installed a tunnel that connects to a portal close to where I was, so it's not the exact same situation as before, but what if I told you that my stuff magically disappeared? Yeah, it was nowhere to be found. So all that iron I just mined, we have to do it again. But first, here I am digging all the way down, thinking my loot might have glitched at the bottom, but after realizing it didn't, I was stuck getting all my stuff back. You should have just killed me. Tired of using one singular torch, I went back up to the surface. It's not the best living situation out here. There's a lot of dead people with bows and arrows. At least I had one pork chop though, so we weren't fully at risk of dying again. I slowly got more stuff as the night went on, got jump scared by a creeper, and after all that, on day 134, I survived my first night in Minecraft. Don't try to understand that sentence. Since losing my stuff, I was determined to get it all back. So I started farming some birch trees to get the saplings, and at night I farmed some spruce trees for saplings. And you may have noticed that this is the first time there has been rain in this world, and I didn't like that. So I slept the night away in a bed with all the edges cut out. Day 135, I finished my tree collection. Who knew that getting these saplings would end up being so important? At this point, I'm getting bored of this whole situation, so it's a good thing that I went back to the Nether, because now we can go back home and get some actual tools and stuff. It's kinda crazy that we only have 13 diamonds left now because of this. We're also eating bread now. It's come down to this. Hey, at least I don't have to pay Minecraft taxes anymore. On day 136, I had to go get all the iron I mined before again, but this time I ended up in the original cave from the first 100 days. How are they still here? I honestly think that death happened for a reason, because it allowed me to find a spawner underneath my home base. No cocoa beans though. But now I can use this spawner to make an XP farm in the future. Or I can use this one, which I found right beside it. Once again, there's no cocoa beans. It only took me till the end of day 136 to get all the iron again. And then on day 137, I blew up a creeper. I don't know why I decided to include that. I made my way up to the surface, and then I entered the castle. I had to smelt all the iron before I could make the rails, but luckily you don't have to wait for that. Only I do. I made my way back into the Nether, and now it's time for the most interesting segment ever. It was actually kind of annoying trying to make a staircase out of the rails. Now that I think of it, I probably could have just put the home portal underground as well. But I didn't, so I was stuck with this. It took me about 5 minutes to actually finish the staircase, which isn't that bad. And the straight line was much easier to make. All I had to do was remember to place a powered rail every 7 rails. So on day 138, I was finished making the railroad. Now we just have to see if it works. Of course it didn't work. To be fair, it's been at least 10 years since I built one of these things, so you can't blame me for forgetting how they work. Well, actually you can. I don't know who else you would blame. Alright, now the track will work. It's time for take 2. Well, we're not getting that back. Okay, really? Why did it... Obviously the railroad worked this way because there is barely any uphill, but will it work the other way? We were so close. Okay, now it has to work. There's no way it doesn't work. I'm not even gonna... Well, at least we now know it works. Finally. On day 139, I just wanted to make a few upgrades to the home area, because we're still doing that. So I planted some of the saplings we got earlier, all around the path. Who knew the saplings that I collected 3 times would actually be useful? I realized I placed way too many of them though, so I had to remove a couple. Next I grabbed some stone I was smelting, and I used it to make some rocks around the side of the path as well. This has to be one of my favorite builds, even though it's just a rock. I feel like the rocks add so much to the area. Minecraft should have natural rocks. I continued placing rocks all around the path like this, and I even thought I was cooking by adding some rocks inside of the water. Yeah, that definitely looks pretty cool. Today's museum installation is dedicated to when all my friends quit Minecraft, except for me. This is supposed to be me, and the wool symbolizes the people who quit. Yeah, the quality of these is really going downhill. It was sad times when I was 12. Playing Minecraft was no longer cool. But you know what is cool? Update day. We got the dead bush, tall grass, the fern, trapdoors, maps. You can bone meal grass now. The suffocating bed glitch is fixed. There's no more hit cooldown finally. And crashing into soul sand with a boat apparently kills you. So first I had to craft the new items. Alright, we got a map now. Don't know why I would need to use this. And I had to test out the soul sand boat glitch. Okay, nah, this is crazy. Where are you even coming from? So I put all my items away in case something weird happened, like with the bed, but as it turns out, nothing happens at all. Something I also noticed about this update and the next one is that they don't show up in the top left of the screen. So this is beta 1.6 if anyone was wondering. I started off the day by bone mealing the area in the middle of my castle. I wanted to do this for a long time. How did it take this long to invent bone meal? And I also started bone mealing the area outside of the castle as well. There was a problem though. We don't have that much bone meal. So that's where the spawners from earlier come in. One of them was a skeleton spawner, so I can use it to farm bone meal. So we gotta find the spawner. It's also kind of funny that I'm doing this right after making a roller coaster. It's like 2 of the most classic things to do in old Minecraft. On day 141, I found the skeleton spawner, which means we can start turning this into a skeleton farm. Except I have no idea how. Bro's been playing Minecraft for over 10 years and can't make a mob farm. Fortunately, the old mob farm design looks pretty easy to make though. First, you gotta dig out a 9x9 area around the spawner. Then you gotta leave an indent in the floor for the water to flow to, and when that's all mined out, you make a little hole here, and now we just need water on each side. Next you make a little area to hit the mobs, and finally you fall into the farm to test it out. I obviously did that on purpose. After making the farm, I sat here farming some bone meal. Eventually I got smart and put a slab here though, so the skeletons can't hit me. And I literally just sat here farming skeletons for the rest of the day. That's it. On the next day I started building a ladder to the surface so I could get in and out of this place. And of course the spawner was underwater, so I nearly drowned. Then I built this pillar on top of it so I'll always know where it is. Next I wanted to use all the bone meal I farmed around the path like this. It's better to do this in the day and farm skeletons at night. You also might have noticed a lot of bald sheep in the last few clips. I want to make one of those red and white lighthouses on top of the mob spawner, but I need a lot of wool to do that, so I've been punching sheep whenever I get the chance. Towards the end of the day, I brought some ladders back to the spawner so I could finish the ladder. I also added some torches because it gets very dark. Then I spent the rest of the day hitting skeletons. On day 143, I started to build a shape for the lighthouse. I also found out you can't re-dye wool, so that makes this even harder. I'm only looking for white sheep from now on. I didn't like how this turned out, so I rebuilt it a little smaller, but this is literally all the wool we have right now, so we need a bit more. So my day was just dedicated to punching sheep, and each day I only have 10 minutes to do this because passive mobs only spawn at night. I also have to collect a lot of red flowers because half of the lighthouse has to be red wool. So with only 43 wool by the end of the day, I had a little bit of a problem. So on day 144 I kept punching sheep, and by the middle of the day I started expanding the lighthouse a little bit more, and I even got started on the red section. I ran out of wool pretty fast though, so yeah. On day 145, I woke up inside of a mountain. We now only have 5 more days to finish the lighthouse. I continued building the red layer of the house, and then I moved on to another white layer. But there was a problem. We're still not even halfway done. On day 146, I realized there was a problem. The lighthouse looks terrible. So I tried placing more red wool, because I thought it would make it better. Is it better? It's not better. That doesn't matter for right now though, because I need more wool. And you probably wouldn't believe it, but I spent the rest of the day getting 0 more wool. So on day 147, I realized something had to be done. Instead of using white wool, we should just use snow blocks instead. I didn't really want to use snow because of how hard it was for me to use it before, but now with the portal that takes me to new chunks, it's way easier than finding sheep. So I spent the rest of the day mining snow, and at the end of the day I went back home, finally with enough materials to complete this build. The thing about this lighthouse is that it currently looks really bad, so I had to spend the first part of the day dismantling it. And this was in the last version before they added shears, so it takes forever to mine wool. So you would think I wouldn't start building it again, only to change my mind again. No, I wouldn't do that. I spent the rest of the day building the actual lighthouse this time, and instead of all that weird curvature, I decided to make it a cylinder. And then I made the last area stick out a bit, kind of like a Mario pipe. And after running out of red wool, this is what we had. It's obviously still not finished. I spent the rest of the day collecting red flowers in the rain, and at the end of the day, I switched the Mario pipe design because it looked goofy, and because I also didn't have enough red wool to finish it. Next I added slabs on the outside of it like this, then I made the light at the top of the lighthouse. Okay, I know the torches look stupid, I'll change it to glowstone later. We'll put a few more slabs on the top, and this is what took us 7 or 8 days to build, literally only because of the rarity of wool. On day 149, it was still raining, but at least I could get back to bone mealing finally. It's funny that I have to bone meal literally everything because there was no tall grass at the beginning of this world. Also, by this point, a lot of the trees had grown too, so that was pretty cool. Eventually the rain stopped, which is interesting because I thought it lasts a lot longer, and I ran out of bone meal again. But at least most of the area is bone mealed now. I did kind of forget to add an interior to the lighthouse, so I spent the rest of the day doing that. Part of the lighthouse got blown up by a creeper, which wasn't annoying at all. It was so unannoying that I had to go all the way back to my house to get more snow blocks to fix it. And then it was nighttime, so I was kind of worried about it happening again. But we were okay, so I finished this staircase to the top, and now the lighthouse is actually finished. Even though I don't want to include it, it would be messed up not to put UHC in the museum, because I spent a lot of time playing UHC when I was younger. If you don't know what UHC is, consider yourself lucky. But yeah, I built a big heart for UHC. Not because I love UHC, it's a hardcore heart for UHC. But yeah, now we're 50% of the way through my Minecraft life. Only 50 more days to go. Day 150 is a special update. Some people consider it to be the best version of Minecraft ever. It's beta 1.7.3. Time to see what this version is all about. It added pistons, sticky pistons, shears, silverfish. You can finally build on fences. Apparently this is the first version you need flint and steel to blow up TNT. I never knew that. And the last version of the game to feature the Farlands. So it's time to go there. It's only a few blocks away. This is also the only beta version that you can still download the Faithful texture pack for, so we're gonna be using it for the next few days. Okay, I forgot you need Optifine. After only 10 minutes of Optifine installing, we now have the texture pack. It is based off the new textures though, so it's not the original Faithful. But whatever, this took way too long. I'm not looking for the old one. You might remember me saying I forgot something very important 20 days ago on update day. Yeah, I completely forgot achievements were added, in like beta 1.5. So today I decided to grind achievements. The first ones were simple. I just had to make a sword and a hoe. Then I decided to do the one where I have to cook a fish. It's a good thing I had one singular fish in this chest. I cooked the fish and that was another achievement done, and for the next achievement I killed a mob. Some very hard achievements were missing. I also found a pink sheep for the first time during this day, and yes, I resisted the urge to punch it. Or what if I didn't, and I just cut it out? One of the achievements was just to craft a piece of bread. Kind of ironic when I have 3 pieces of bread in my inventory already. And on day 151, I tried to milk a cow to make a cake. I'm pretty sure you literally have to click the udder in this version. There's an achievement to ride a pig off a cliff, but I forgot you can't control the pig at all. And the only way off the pig is killing it and losing a saddle. There's a lot of weird stuff in this version. Even weirder, I stared at a chicken for like 5 minutes, waiting for it to lay an egg. I'm not exaggerating, by the way, this actually took 5 minutes. But that was the last ingredient for the cake achievement, which leaves 2 more achievements left. Compared to all the other achievements, the last 2 are actually hard. The first achievement is to ride a minecart 1,000 meters. I thought you could just ride the minecart back and forth and it would count as more distance, but apparently that is not the way this works. So I rode a minecart back and forth for the rest of the day for nothing. This led me to try the other achievement on day 152, which is riding a pig off a cliff. At first I was confused on how to do this, but I found out you can still punch the pig while you're riding it. So this achievement wasn't actually that hard, because I didn't have to rely on the pig to jump off. But the next achievement was an actual menace. For the next achievement to work, I actually have to ride a minecart 1,000 meters. I'm not allowed to double back on existing rails, they all have to be different. The obvious solution for this is just to build a 1,000 block long railroad, but knowing how long that would take, I was out here trying to find different methods. The problem was that none of these methods actually worked. So as it turns out, I'm going to have to expand this track 700 more blocks. 652 actually, according to the sign. So that means it's back to grinding iron again. Look at me. You can see that I was still in denial. Since it was my only option, I spent the rest of the day grinding iron. Once again, I have no memory of how much iron I actually needed, I just know it was over 2 stacks. Fortunately, due to locking in, at the end of the day I had enough iron. Or at least you would think that, because I was heading back to my base. No, I actually just gave up on the iron mission. I don't remember why. On day 153, I smelted a bunch of gold and iron, and I turned all of it into rails. I then began the long journey of digging a strip mine all the way to Z1000. It's crazy how if there was enchants, I could have done this pretty much instantly. But no, this took a massive amount of time, straight from the beginning to the end of the day. And after that, I had to start placing the rails all the way back to where we started. This didn't take nearly as long though, because I didn't actually have that many rails. So I ran out of rails like 250 blocks in, which meant I needed to get 400 more rails. It takes 6 iron to make 16 rails, which means we need about 150 iron to make all our rails. Obviously less than that because some of the rails are going to be powered rails, but this isn't a math channel, so 150 iron it is. So on day 154, I grinded iron a little bit, but this cave was already pretty explored, so I went to surface to find another one. And once I found another one, I just mined more iron. That's the whole day. It's just iron and creepers. On day 155, I started finding some blue iron as well. There was also a spawner with no cocoa beans in it, also no golden apple, but I've given up on that entirely. And at the end of the day, I had way more than 150 iron, so one of us calculated wrong, either me or me in the video. On day 156, I finally went back to surface. Now that we have shears, I can shear sheep instead of punching them. I found the way back to my portal pretty easy enough, and back at home, it was time to smelt a ton of iron. After smelting the iron, this is how many rails we ended up with. That's at least 10. And now begins the slow, boring process of laying them all on the ground. But not as a viewer, you just get to experience the finished railroad. So on day 157, I rode the railroad 1,000 blocks, and did not get the achievement. At this point, I thought it was broken, so the best thing I could do, obviously, was extend the railroad out even more. I also ran out of redstone, so I was using levers to activate the rails now. So after adding like 100 more blocks, I tested the railroad again. And yeah, this time it actually worked. I'm guessing it only counted the blocks on one axis and not the other, but now I was officially done with every achievement in beta 1.7.3, which is crazy because the actual current all advancements record is not much longer than it took me to do this. That's kind of concerning. Now that I had nothing to do, on day 158, I started cutting down a bunch of trees. You remember the bridge we built to my house like 30 days ago? Well, now I wanted to make one that connects the house to the lighthouse as well. So to do this, I needed to get a ton of wood. So that's what I did for the rest of the day. I got wood. This is the most common day in Minecraft beta. What's not common though is a squid in your water fountain. I actually need the ink sacs though, so I'll take it. On day 159, I started to build the plank part of the bridge. I decided to be a little different and make the bridge curve this time though. I did mess up and make this bridge only 3 blocks wide instead of 4 like the last one, but considering the fact that I didn't notice that until now, I think we're fine. I bet you didn't know that I deleted my YouTube channel once before. Not this one. Obviously not this one. But remember when I talked about my YouTube channel with 400 subs? When I was in like 8th grade, my YouTube channel got compromised. People in my school found my channel. I don't know about now, but back then, people finding your Minecraft channel was the end of the world. Even though looking back on it, no one actually cared. But back then, I thought it was over. So that was the end of my YouTube journey. I guess I'll never hit 1,000,000 subs. That's why I made this black play button. Okay, that looks a little better. It's supposed to be a play button, but dead. Because I deleted the channel. All of these squares were for nothing. Day 160 was the shadow chest update. I was so used to using faithful now that things look a little bit weird. But of course things are about to look really weird because you can sprint. You could only double tap W in this version, but still, it was amazing. There's also finally hunger as you can see. You were able to block your sword, which is a mythical feature for anyone who started playing after 1.8. And you could also pull back your bow. If you know your Minecraft beta update lore, you might know that 1.8.1 is one of the last updates in beta. It is technically the last, but not in this video. No, I'm actually going to be on this version for the next 30 days, and to answer why, I will list off everything added in this update. Stone bricks, mossy stone bricks, cracked stone bricks, infested stone, brick and stone brick slabs and stairs, mushroom blocks, melons, vines, iron bars, glass panes, fence gates, chicken, beef, ender pearls, melon and pumpkin seeds, rotten flesh, cave spiders, endermen, XP, mine shafts, ravines, strongholds, villages, new biomes, and finally potion effects. And there's also everything I showed before that as well. So at the beginning of the day, I added some new blocks to the chest. And after doing that, I realized there was a big problem with food in this version. I don't know if I'm just used to not having to eat in the earlier versions, or if you actually run out of hunger way faster than modern Minecraft. But we are going to need a lot of food. Food that I can't seem to find around my base, so we're gonna have to go find some new chunks. At the end of the day, I slept in the water, and on day 161, I went looking for some new terrain. It took a little bit, but I found a new plains biome. For the first time since day 1, this finally looks like modern terrain. I made sure to farm a lot of food while I was out here, and I also sheared a bunch of sheep because of the events from before. I never want to have to find wool again. I also wanted to collect some of the blocks we don't have yet, so I grabbed a bunch of vines from this green swamp, and since there's been shears in the game for a while now, I can collect leaves. I also wanted to find a fern because they got added last update, but I spent the rest of the night looking for one and couldn't find it, so I guess they don't spawn yet. I found a cave on day 162, and something funny I found out about this update is that even though there is an XP bar, it doesn't show your level. It just resets you back to 0 every time you level up. You can also do large amounts of knockback to mobs while sprinting. I guess that was never tested when they added sprint. And you can get your diamonds blown up by a creeper. That was always a feature though. For some reason, it also seems to be a common feature. I mean, look at this guy ready to jump. He didn't do it this time, though. He's chill, I guess. This version of Minecraft was the first one where caving isn't super boring. Now we have a lot of ravines. Way too many, actually. And then there's the thing that I was actually looking for. A mineshaft. My least favorite part of mineshafts in this version is that you get stuck on these fences. Their hitbox is a full block. The creepers are also pretty annoying. This is literally just a thing they do. They hide behind walls. Something cool though is that there are no minecart chests yet, even though there are still rails on the ground. I guess that's some good mineshaft lore. I found a spawner that was connected to the mineshaft, and after 42 days, we finally got some cocoa beans. I never ended up making a cookie though, so after all that, the cocoa beans ended up being useless. I continued exploring the mineshaft for the rest of the day, found a chest with melon seeds, so now we can get melons, found another chest with melon seeds, and another chest with chest contents. On day 163, I was still exploring the mineshaft. I was really hoping on this day I would find pumpkin seeds, because I want to build a giant farm in the unused area between my house and the castle, and the last seed we need is pumpkins. But it seems every chest I open just has melon seeds. I got attacked by a cave spider on this day, and I found out that they are actually not yet poisonous, so cave spiders are just not scary at all in this update. After checking a few more chests, mining a few more diamonds, discovering the floating mineshaft, finding out there's a new achievement I have to do, and finding another spawner, we still had no pumpkin seeds at the end of the day. So on day 164, I was still looking for pumpkin seeds. I did come up with another goal though. Since I lost my armor when I suffocated from the bed, I wanted to get full diamond again, which means we need 7 more diamonds as well. It's a race between finding diamonds and pumpkin seeds. Who will win? I found a 5 vein of diamonds pretty quickly, and this puts us at 22 diamonds, so pumpkin seeds probably aren't gonna win. I also really want you to understand what kind of knockback we were working with. Like, this is actually insane. I re-entered the mineshaft towards the end of the day, and I checked a few more chests, but still nothing. No diamonds or pumpkin seeds for the rest of the day. Hopefully day 165 can actually put an end to the war. And that's it. Diamonds win. Diamonds did kind of have an unfair advantage though, because I think it's impossible to get pumpkin seeds in this update. I'm pretty sure they weren't included in chest loot by accident or something, because I have to have looted at least 30 chests and didn't find any. So after getting stuck in a cobweb and almost dying, I was back on the surface, with no armor at all, because I didn't craft my diamond armor. And I hate the rain in this version, so I built a big pillar in the sky so that I could sleep. Yeah, it turns out that this was a super dumb idea. I didn't die from this because I was able to react, but I completely forgot that mobs can just spawn on you while sleeping in this version. This is honestly surprising that this was the first time it happened to me. So yeah, we're sleeping with the nightlight on from now on. On day 166, I did another stupid thing, or Mojang did a stupid thing by making 1 block water do fall damage in old versions. Either way, someone did something stupid. I also still am not making armor for some reason. I don't know why I just forgot to make armor. I started cutting down a bunch of trees because I still have to finish that bridge from day 159, and then I sailed the ocean back towards my nether portal. You can really tell how many versions of the game I've been through. I made it back home just before it turned night, and now for some reason I was able to craft my armor. It's not like I could have just done this before. Nah, I almost had to die twice. On day 167, I started placing the wood. I got to here and I was out of wood, so we needed a lot more. So back to the nether we go. Since I got rid of all the trees around my home area, it's time to torture a different forest. I also don't understand why the fog randomly disappears in the nether in this update. Does anyone know why that happens? I spent the rest of the day mining wood, and I spent the night mining wood as well, which is risky because we all know what happens when you do that. Luckily, none of them got me. On day 168, I saved the environment by planting back some of the trees. Of course, we'll forget the fact that I definitely chopped down more than I placed, and I started working on the bridge again. I finished placing all the pillars, and now I just had to make them 1 block taller with a torch on each one. When I finished that, I realized I might as well circle this thing all the way around, so I built even more bridge. I did the same thing with the logs on the sides as I did with the last one, and when it turned night, I was finished with the entire thing. There is a mob problem right now, but a bit of light will fix it. There's also an enderman problem. They like to steal your blocks. And yes, the enderman was making zombie sounds. They did that at first. After lighting the whole area up, I took a look at the finished bridge. That's a lot more bridge than when we started. And it's about to be a lot more bridge, but this time the land version of a bridge, so a path. On day 169, I built a path similar to the one connecting my house and castle. I don't know why I said similar. It's actually exactly the same, just in a different place. And once the path was complete, I added some logs with torches for light. But then I ran out of torches, so no more light, I guess. I finished the path off by adding some slabs on the side, and there it is. That's a pretty nice path. When I was younger, there was a point in time where I never thought I'd play Minecraft again, and that was because I found a new game to play. Fortnite. Fortnite was massive in early 2018, and it was literally the only thing I played. Actually, it was the only thing I did other than go to school as well. I was obsessed with Fortnite. It seemed like I would never play Minecraft again now that I had found a different game. So that's why this part of the museum is dedicated to Fortnite. That's what the F stands for, right there. I wonder if I'll ever play Minecraft again. On day 170, it was time to get serious. We have 30 days left, and this is what our home area looks like. We need a new building. Specifically a big farm right here, strategically placed in the middle of the giant bridge. You should know every good building starts with terraforming. That's why the lighthouse was bad. So I want to fill this whole sand area up with grass, and also level a lot of the hill down because parts of it are way too high. So that's what I'm doing. I'm digging up the hill, and in this clip I'm burning a pig alive for 0 food. What makes a pig drop no pork chops? Once I finished digging the area out, I started shaping the rest of the hill. There were a lot of caves on the side, so I had to make sure they were covered as well, or else it would look bad. I also had to blend the sides in so they didn't look completely unnatural, so that is what I continued doing on day 171. And after doing that, all I had to do was fill in the holes. Now we have a nice artificial hill to build on. On day 172, I started to place an outline for the farm. I wanted the farm to be inside of a giant barn, so the wood will actually be much taller than this. After outlining, I laid down some cobblestone for the first layer. Definitely didn't make it uneven by accident, and then I started building the second layer out of wood planks. I then had an idea of how tall this layer would be, so I began lining the area with logs. But I was pretty broke when it came to taiga logs, so this is how far we got. On day 173, I cut down a bunch of spruce trees. It's very different than my previous 5 times cutting down trees. Those were oak. I was also shearing sheep because I needed wool for this build, and I was killing pigs because I hate pigs. I also forgot to collect some tall grass last time I went for new blocks, and I also gathered some seeds for the farm. And on day 174, I also cut down a bunch of trees. Yeah, I needed a lot of wood for this farm, but by the end of the day, I had about 6 stacks of logs, so I figured that was enough. The reason I gathered wool was to make an X pattern on the walls of the barn, kinda like this. But this is just not that at all. So instead, I just did this design. It looks way better. I continued expanding the second layer of logs like this, and then I started switching all the walls to the new wool pattern. That's way better than the X. I also started swapping some spruce logs for oak logs to make it more textured, and then I made an outline of where the roof will be. On day 176, I started filling in the roof with oak planks, because there is no way I have enough logs to only use logs for the roof. Even planks is gonna be a struggle. Look how much I still have to place. I built an arch on the other side of the barn as well, and now that I didn't need any more logs, I could just go crazy with the planks on the roof, until I ran out. So I went back to the nether again. Bruh. This was probably the most dangerous tree cutting session yet. Every single tree had at least one of these guys. But at least on day 177, it was less dangerous. Other than this guy, he was the only problem. And after gathering a ton of wood for the 900th time, I was back to the zombie-infested roof. By the end of the day, I'd finished about half of the roof, and on day 178, I finished the whole roof. The roof did kind of create a new problem though, but I ignored that and started designing the second layer of the walls. I decided to go with stone and cobblestone because they're different from wood. I only had like 30 pieces of stone though, so I started fighting the room of mobs instead. Also, this is something you'll never see again: an enderman burning from sunlight. After getting rid of the mob spawner, I filled in the rest of the walls, and this is what it looks like so far. Ignore the fences down there. I was getting experimental. For the rest of the night, I mined stone because we need a lot more than 30 to finish the barn. And on day 179, I filled in the cobblestone layers. Obviously, we can't do the stone part yet because we have to cook it. I also put some cobblestone along the arch like this, and then I filled in the rest of it with wood. Not bad. For some reason, torches were not working in this area, and I was still getting mobs in the barn, so I added more light. And I also filled in the backside of the barn, because I hadn't done that yet. In mid to late 2020, I made a return to Minecraft. I was tired of playing Fortnite and needed something to play. Luckily, Tapel's UHC server was really popular at the time, and since I had a history of playing UHC in the past, this server got me back into Minecraft. So that's why I made a golden apple. It was the Tapel logo. We had to make a few sacrifices to get this gold though. The gold bed will be missed. If you hadn't noticed, I'm down to eating rotten flesh now, and that's the food problem I was talking about on day 160. It's kicked in. But we'll get food another time. Right now, we just have to wait for the sun to rise. On day 180, the sun rose, so it's off to the nether to get some food. For the first time in this world, I found a village, so I obviously stole all the crops so I could get some food. I don't think anyone cared though, because there are no villagers in the village. I also cut down even more spruce wood. Yeah, it turns out I need to use these to build the interior of the barn. I kinda forgot about that. And yeah, other than burning mobs, that's really it. Actually, I found another village as well, but this time there was residents. So I slept in the middle of the library. I am now the librarian. On day 181, I broke a bookshelf and found out that they don't drop books. This is a good day for people who hate books. I also got more food, found a creeper in the daytime, and cut down more trees. And I want you to remember how much food I have on this day. On day 181, I had 39 steak. And in this next clip where I'm mining cobblestone, I'm already down to 35. To be fair, Steve is getting some crazy protein in, but this is a lot of steak. No one should eat this much steak. On day 182, I smelted the stone so we can finish the top walls of the barn, and I also thought this entrance was a little empty, so I started to add a wall layer on the top. It's kind of like a portal to the barn dimension. I filled in the 2 missing walls on the side, and now the front of the barn is actually finished. Or so you think. I actually wanted to use some extra stone to put a little bit more detail on the walls like this. I also removed the dirt staircase because I don't think we want to keep that. And then a spider caused me to lose part of the barn. The spider actually managed to stop me from running away from the creeper. That's impressive. Okay, now the front is actually done. And most of the outside is done as well, so it was time to start working on the inside. I followed the same design with the logs as I did on the outside, and on day 183, I filled the walls in with stone because I forgot to yesterday. I then filled in this top area to build an upper layer, and I put some fences on the side so you can't fall off. Why is there mobs spawning in here again? This mob problem was actually making no sense. I swear I didn't need this much light in any other version before this. So now we have the lightest barn in existence. I added a staircase to the second layer at the back of the barn like this, and then I started digging out an area where we will put some water so I can grow my crops. I also wanted to make the water flow back out into the lake, but on day 184, I think I underestimated how far the lake was. So I had to make a huge tunnel that leads all the way to the lake, and now we have a supernatural looking water flow. I also made a sewer kind of design on the back, even though it's not a sewer, I just think it seems right. And then I did the same thing on the other side, but this time the area we have for water flow is even worse. After doing this, it was time to hoe all the dirt, and then plant some wheat seeds like this. Okay, how is that not light enough for seeds? Because of this problem, I added some bridges across the water for light, and then I put some slabs as a pathway to the other side as well. Next, I hoed the dirt on the other side so I could put some melons here, but no pumpkins unfortunately, because pumpkin seeds don't exist. And now the farm area is kinda complete. We do need a bit more wood to finish it though, so on day 185, I mined wood. It is insane how many times this has happened. I also got more stone as well, cause you might as well do both, and at the end of the day, I started to make the floor of the farm look better. I added some fences to make it harder for things to walk in and walk on the crops, and I added a wood path on the side cause it looks nicer than grass. And I added some posts on the side cause why not? Finally, I got rid of this dirt on day 186, and put some wood under the stairs instead. I also started digging out some holes in the middle area so I could make a pathway, and I used gravel, stone, and cobblestone for the path just like the other ones outside. And now the inside of the farm is actually complete. I built a bit more of a path to connect it to the main path to the castle, and now the barn is officially complete. So for the rest of the day, I just made the area around it look nicer. I planted some trees on the side, bone mealed the area up a little bit, added a creeper hole to the mountain in front, and then I placed some different kind of trees on the top as well. It's definitely not as good as the castle, but it's still a nice addition to the area. Something I didn't realize about this update is that I was missing a new achievement, Sniper Duel. The one where you kill a skeleton from 50 meters, I needed to do that. The problem with Sniper Duel is... how is that not 50 meters? Or that. You need to be really far away from the skeleton to do the achievement, but the arrows aren't exactly accurate in this version. The skeletons will also just randomly disappear, Yeah, at some range they just vanish. I don't know how many blocks it is, but it isn't far. So on day 187, I had to come up with a plan to get this achievement. But first I had to kill some skeletons for bone meal. The plan was simple. Shoot 1,000,000 more arrows at the invisible skeleton and hope it hits. Nah, that wasn't actually the plan. I just didn't think I had to resort to it on this day. But at the end of the night, all I had done was killed an enderman with a bow, which isn't even possible in new Minecraft, so it's a pretty weird sight. So on day 188, after using all my bone meal, I started digging an area 50 blocks up above my skeleton farm. I thought that surely if I went 50 blocks up, that would count for the achievement. The problem that I ran into though, is that skeletons disappear when I'm 50 blocks out, and at a certain range they just completely despawn. So the whole day I was shooting into the void, not knowing they were despawning. So for the rest of the night I just tried the old method, and this is how my arrows were landing with my crosshair staying in the same place. For some reason, as I said earlier, the bows are super inaccurate, so this was the most annoying night so far. With the despawning and the arrow inaccuracy, this achievement felt basically impossible. I remember in the early stages of me doing YouTube, it felt like it was basically impossible to grow. I was posting videos and none of them would get recommended, and I just couldn't understand it. When all hope was lost and I was about to quit, the only thing that kept me going was my TikTok account. I had somehow managed to get 100,000 followers on there before, so I had that as proof I could succeed. A month later, I posted what is now known as my first video, so if I never made Minecraft videos on TikTok, I would have never become a YouTuber in the first place, which is why I built the TikTok logo as the 9th slot of the museum. But other than that, I hope the TikTok era is forgotten. Those videos were horrible. Day 189 was my last night attempting the skeleton achievement. I decided to go on top of the castle to make sure I was definitely 50 blocks away, but none of the skeletons I killed ended up being 50 meters, so I guess it's impossible. On day 190, it was time to forget the achievement though, because it was update day. This update added not being able to open doors, my house randomly getting turned into a swamp, and a massive list of things that is longer than the previous update was. To summarize it, we have a big nether update, the end and the ender dragon were added, and there's more achievements that we need to get. But first, I went back in time to show you some stupid features from updates before. In beta 1.9 pre-release 1, jumping gives you XP, and because of this you can't hold down jump anymore. In pre-release 4, you can place water on top of water, and in pre-release 5, pressing F9 stops you from moving your mouse, pressing F6 gives you weird movement, and you can change the rotation of your camera. I know updating to beta 1.9 in this video is controversial because the full release is Minecraft 1.0, but the update has beta in the name, so you can't really argue with that. Seriously, please don't. Today it's time to start working on getting these new achievements because there is a lot of them. Apparently we haven't got diamonds yet, so we're starting with that, which means we gotta go to the nether. And we gotta run to some new chunks. You may remember 10 days ago when I told you to remember I had 39 steak? Well, I'm officially already out of steak. This is not normal food consumption. Steve has a problem. At the end of the day, I finally made it to new chunks and found a cave, got more melon seeds, and on day 191, I mined diamonds for the first time ever. The reason I'm using an iron pick is because it's my first time mining diamonds, obviously. It was also my first time mining obsidian at super speed. Yeah, for some reason obsidian breaks really fast in pre-release 6. And with the obsidian I made an enchant table, which is another achievement, but those achievements were simple compared to the next achievement. I didn't exactly know how much sharpness it would take to do 8 hearts in one hit, but I knew that I was not getting it done in this cave. So on day 192, I headed back to my base. More specifically, I went back to use the mob farm since I'm gonna need it to grind XP. But first, we need a lot of sugarcane so we can get a level 30 enchant. Also, this is the first time in almost 200 days that I carried a bow and actually used it. I tried the skeleton achievement one more time, and this attempt perfectly explains why it's so stupid. If only I had a target block and a trapdoor. I dug out an area down at my mob spawner where I could put my enchanting area, and this version is really weird with the enchant levels, so I added more bookshelves than usual. See that? Level 31. That's not normal. After setting this up, I spent the rest of the day just farming XP. And on day 193, I don't think I moved from the spawner once at all. Like, I just sat here clicking skeletons and that's it. And by day 194, I only had 26 levels. So we still needed to farm 4 more levels. After getting 30 levels, I went back to get some diamonds to make a new sword, and then I got to level 31 just in case I got a level 31 enchant like we saw earlier. I unfortunately did end up finding a level 31 enchant, but I didn't realize and went past it, so I guess we're left with a classic level 30 enchant. Smite 4 isn't the worst thing we could have got, because at least it was enough for the achievement. So on day 195, we were done with the enchantment achievements, and it was time to move on to the nether achievements. The first one was actually just going to the nether, which we did on day 190, and the next achievement was getting a blaze rod, so we needed to find a fortress. Somehow it only took me 2 minutes to find a fortress. I guess they were more common in old Minecraft, and instantly I found some nether wart. This will be a lot more useful for the next achievement after killing the blaze. Speaking of killing a blaze, this is a tutorial for what not to do. You should actually not kill the blaze over lava, so you get the blaze rod. Even though the achievement is done, I'm gonna need a lot more of these to get to the end for the last achievement. So I spent a little bit more time killing blazes, and after that I needed to find a ghast for return to sender. But first I mined some glowstone because it finally drops normally in this update. And after that I did the ghast achievement. 2 times actually, if you count what I did on day 196. The next achievement is to brew a potion, so I made some speed potions. I also put the new nether blocks in the chest, and this plus the old museum is almost every block. I probably missed some, but whatever. After potion brewing, there was only 2 achievements left, getting to the stronghold and killing the dragon. So on day 196, it was time to start preparing for the end. I wanted to enchant my bow, but it isn't possible to enchant bows yet in this version, so instead I just enchanted my pickaxe. Fortune 1 for a level 15 is crazy. I wanted efficiency because there is a cool thing you can do with efficiency in this version, so I enchanted a different pickaxe to demonstrate. Basically, efficiency works on any block, it doesn't matter the tool. This is how I learned how to play Minecraft. You break a tree with a pickaxe. For the rest of the night, I killed endermen for ender eyes, which is revenge for them stealing blocks around my base, and on day 197, I went to look for the stronghold. While looking for the stronghold, I got to travel through all these old chunks one final time. Which is a really terrible thing because the Eye of Ender led me to an old chunk. Either one of 2 things are happening here. Either the stronghold somehow spawned in an old chunk, or my world is glitched because it's old. After making it down to Y11, it looked like it was the second option. I tried some X-ray tech to see if the stronghold was here, and maybe the eye was just off by a bit. I even looked through a nearby cave as well, but it seems there is no stronghold in this chunk. With this happening, and the stuff happening with the skeleton achievement before, I was not having fun. I went back to my base and killed a few more endermen to recover some broken eyes, and that's it. That was day 197. Since the Ender Eye leads to nothing at spawn, my only chance of finding a stronghold was to run far enough away for the eye to change directions. So that is what I did, except the eye didn't change directions. Apparently 4,000 blocks wasn't enough. We had to go a lot further. I'm gonna be honest, for the rest of the day I was traveling through this ocean, and on day 199 I was still in a world record ocean. I saw light at the bottom and got excited, but it was just a lava pool, and around 4,000 blocks into the ocean, it began to rain. I finally hit land after 5 more minutes of boating, and this is what we get. Still the same eye. So we have to go further. That also wasn't the end of the ocean. Nope, there's more ocean to go. My boat broke from not even touching a lily pad as well. That's fun. And 9,000 blocks out, it still goes the wrong direction. By now it's pretty apparent that the game is just broken, or this was a feature. I'm not sure. But it seems like the eye only ever points to one stronghold in the entire world. So we're probably not gonna make it to the end, unfortunately. Honestly, as the updates progress, the game just keeps getting more annoying. And that's not me saying the newer versions of Minecraft are worse, they are objectively better. But for some reason I wanted the video to be perfect. No world breaking every time I update, no impossible achievements to complete. I wanted the video to end with me killing the Ender Dragon. The end of the game, the end of the video, so that's it. I figured it out. This is not the end. Literally, we are not getting to the end. It's impossible. Yeah, the eye went that way again. And it broke. That's it. I'm done. That was it.